global consciousness. Free Palestine.
Hey, 9-inch toenails. Hey, baby, walk. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. How are you all doing? Hey, Deb, welcome. Good to see you, Deb. Hey, Aria. Kia ora. Free Palestine. Let's lock in, everybody. Let's lock in. Hey, Epstein Files, welcome.
Free Palestine.
Welcome. Hola.
Free Palestine.
Global consciousness.
Free Palestine.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Honest question. Are prejudice against white people? Are you asking me if I'm prejudiced against white people? I despise white supremacy and white privilege. I don't think those things should exist. I am not prejudiced against white people. I am deeply hateful of white supremacy and white privilege. Oh, really, Leah? It's okay. It's not an issue. It's all good. We're here. We're still here. Okay, let's get into it. First segment, war. We're gonna follow a few different things that have happened around the world. And let's start with Libya. Is my account completely gone? Yeah, it's gone. I appealed it and they rejected the appeal. Okay. Welcome in, everybody. How are you?
Global consciousness.
Welcome in. Seriously, it's not a big deal.
Free
Don't worry.
Palestine.
Yo, Goodreads. How are you? It just means we get to start again. It's okay. It just means we get to start. And yeah. What times do I typically go live? I only know when I saw you live on there. I go live once in the morning, and so once in the morning New Zealand time. I usually come on at around 10:30, 11ish, 11 a.m. New Zealand time, and I stay on till about 2:30 New Zealand time. And then in the evening, I come on at around 6:30, 7ish, 7 p.m. New Zealand time, and go till like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. New Zealand time. So I do 2 lives a day. Did they say why it is banned? Yeah, hateful speech, hateful conduct or whatever. Because I played that video and the comedian in the video used the N-word. But the thing is, that was a TikTok video. So, and they didn't approve my appeal. So I was just like, what the hell? Okay. Anyway, here we go, guys. Let's get into it. They didn't give the guy follow a warning or a reason. Just totally deleted it. Happened to be a political channel too. Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that, guys. It just, yeah, sure, they're targeting some people, but I'm in lives where white supremacists
So
come
there
up
we are.
and say the N-word all the time. Crazy. Really? Oh my gosh. Yeah. So maybe they're a little bit more sensitive towards like creators like me. I think definitely TikTok has taken a different direction. That's okay though. We're still here. We're still chugging. The thing about any sort of movement or anything anything that we do, we've got to make sure that it doesn't end with one channel being banned or one account being banned or whatever. We have to make sure that it's bigger than that, you know? If a movement can be ended with an account being banned, then it was never a movement in the first place. So that's what we've got to try and achieve. Hey, my clothes brush. Hey, Doug. So this is kind of a test of that, I guess. Yeah, it was a TikTok video. It was a TikTok video. Crazy. We're still here though. Okay, let's get into it. Drone attacks escalate on Libya's oil and power infrastructure. The first segment is going to be about war. We're going to follow a few different developments around the world, and then we're going to jump into more climate news, okay? There's a crap load to discuss, so lock the fuck in, everybody. Okay? Lock the fuck in. Oh, really? Crazy. I sent a notice to TikTok Legal to reinstate your account. Oh, thank you, Doug. Thank you.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Here we go.
A drone targeted the Zawiya oil refinery on Tuesday as attacks on Libya's energy facilities appear to be escalating. A petrol storage tank at the country's largest refinery.
I do have a request though, and the request is, if you are from TikTok, or if you have some social media, or if you're part of a group, and you're in this community, please share it with people. There's no reach like word of mouth. So yeah, if you do enjoy being here and in this community, you can definitely play a role in help spreading the word. So I think it's very powerful for word of mouth, from a word of mouth perspective. So however you can help, that would be amazing. Get the word out, folks. Thank you.
Was completely engulfed in flames. Emergency response teams worked into the night to put out the fire. The National Oil Corporation condemned the attack, adding that it was the fifth of its kind in recent days.
Oil institutions, infrastructure and oil fields must not be involved in any conflict. This is the property of the Libyan people. Oil is the major revenue for the state. It is not in anyone's interests for these attacks to happen.
Just hours after the fire at the refinery was extinguished, another drone hit a sub-power station in the south of Zawiya. The General Electric Company says it caused a complete power outage in many nearby areas. More than half of the plant's total 1,300 megawatts of generation capacity was knocked out. Power generators like this one have helped Libyans endure months of power outages, but that's created a sharp increase in demand for diesel and petrol. And many people are worried more attacks on Libya's energy sites will make the situation even worse. Alex Reina, Al Jazeera, Tripoli.
So Libya is being targeted. I don't know who is targeting Libya, but it seems pretty bad. And it's been a couple of different attacks. I think Libya has become kind of a vassal state of the West now. So whoever's attacking Libya, I don't know. Who the hell could it be? Who is launching drones at Libya? Fuck, it's such a crazy moment right now. There's just so much happening on these fronts.
We have a new subscriber. Welcome to the Noisy Crew.
Oh, Sunflower Soul, thank you so much. What direction are they coming from? I don't know. I'll find more analysis on it. Let's dig a little bit deeper, right? It would be good to understand. Thank you so much, Sunflower Soul, for the subscription. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Street Smarts. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're all well. Welcome.
Security forces have clashed with settlers who trapped 2 Palestinian families in their homes in the occupied West Bank. The security forces moved in to try to force the settlers away from the homes in the village of Qusra, south of Nablus. But after clashes, they left and the settlers have returned. The Palestinian families say their water and power has been cut and they have dwindling food supplies. Well, our correspondent John Donaldson has the latest.
This is the edge of the Palestinian
Good
village
to have
of
you here,
Qusra
Sunflower.
in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, and you can see the 4 houses that are now under siege just up on the hilltop there, and you can just about make out to the left of those buildings settlers milling around outside. Now, these properties where 2 families are living have been under siege since the weekend. Now, over the past year or so, the United Nations says there's been a huge surge in settler violence. Attacks have been happening this year at roughly 6 a day. Often those attacks are physical violence, the burning of property, the burning of farmland, the cutting down and burning of olive trees. But this is a new tactic by the settlers. What they're in effect doing is laying siege and trying to starve these families out by denying them water. They've cut off the water, they've cut off the electricity, and then the aim is to take over those Palestinian homes. Now, we spoke to one of the families up there this morning, and they said that the Israeli army had come this morning and they had dismantled some of the settler tents, but the settlers, as we've seen, have come back. And we did actually see some video footage from earlier this morning of the settlers dismantling some sort of dry stone wall and throwing the rocks onto the road. And at the weekend, we actually saw a video showing Israeli
Direction. De-erection. Direction. 9-inch toenails. I just saw that misspell. Epic.
soldiers praying alongside some of those settlers. So Palestinians and the United Nations, they accuse the Israeli army of allowing the settlers to
Yo,
act
Shots
with
Bork.
impunity.
What up?
Well, that was John Donaldson. The BBC has been in touch with one of the Palestinians trapped in that village in the occupied West Bank, who is still for a 4th day today surrounded by those Israeli settlers. He sent this video appealing again for help.
I am Kusey Aburida from the village of Qasra, south of Nablus. 4 days ago, settlers came to the house and blocked us from leaving. They stopped anyone from coming to the house. We have been deprived of all necessities. They cut off the electricity and water and supply of health care. There is a family living in a nearby house. They have 2 children, aged 4 and 2. They have also been cut off from the outside world.
Oh, Shadspork. Not on TikTok. I got a permaban on TikTok, Marit. I got a permanent ban. My account got a permanent ban. Primary season? Yeah. Have you been doing a lot of work with candidates, Shadspork? Have you been doing a lot of door knocking and things like that? It's great to see you again, though. It's good to have you here.
We are unable to leave the house and our situation is tragic. The soldiers arrived at the house, but they did nothing. We appeal to the humanitarian organizations to help us and protect us and provide food and medicine to the families who are besieged by the settlers.
The latest there from the West Bank.
Have we given up on net zero? Oh my gosh. I don't want to listen to Kemi Badenoch, bro. Okay, so this is another thing that's happened, guys, and that is the RSF has escalated with a drone strike on safe zones in Sudan. Where have we seen this before? Where have we seen this before? striking safe zones. With no regard for human life. We've seen this. It's all played out. The same tactics used by Israel, used by the US. It's the same playbook. The RSF is nothing but a proxy of the West. It's the same tactics again and again. Another devastating drone strike.
Wednesday was different in the sky of Sudan. A swarm of drones launched by the Rapid Support Forces flew for the first time in 3 Sudanese states at the same time. Medical sources said that these drone attacks killed and injured people in the city of Ubaid, North Kordofan. More than 16 drones hit the 2 cities of Khartoum Bahri and Durman.
Hey, Lucy.
Part of the wider capital region of Sudan.
Oh, that's amazing shots
If a drone hit a mosque's courtyard in
That's
Bahri.
so awesome.
We heard the sound of the drone at 6:30 a.m. I woke up and saw it. Because I was sleeping on the roof, the house roof, I thought it was a spring plane. But afterwards, a short while later, we heard a very, very strong hit here at the mosque, which is 150 meters away from us. We came and saw the damage. The damage is clear on the base of the minaret.
The Sudanese army says its air defenses have downed most of the drones. Yet, the vulnerable people are the ones who suffer the most.
It broke the glass, and I have diabetes, and we have an elderly woman who is staying with us. We cannot move freely.
Similar suicide drones were reported in the cities of Aldamir and Atbara in the River Nile state. With this, the drone war in Sudan is expanding to bring the confrontation between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary group to cities and regions that have remained.
I'm sad to hear you got a perma on TikTok, though. Not surprising, considering how much they were trying to suppress your channel, but it still sucks. Yeah, it sucks. Honestly, like, it's hard because of so much time that was spent on that account, and so many, relationships built, and so much connection with the Palestinians in Gaza and stuff. It's they just blew it away completely. So yeah, it's gonna hurt for a while, but you know what? Everything like that is a new opportunity, I guess. What can I do? Out of my control.
Relatively calm so far. The United Nations documented the killing of more than 1,000 people by drone strikes between January and May of this year. 80% of the victims were civilians. The death toll, though, looks it will climb further. Ahmed Al-Shihabi, TRT World.
Man, this what's happening in Sudan is just not getting much attention in mainstream media, but that's because the RSF is very much a Western proxy group, and the way I think I can make that claim is because the RSF hasn't been prescribed a terrorist organization when they have done far more damage, far more killing than Hamas, Hezbollah, etc., etc., and they've done it in a shorter space of time. If this was any group in the Middle East fighting against their state, they would be labeled a terrorist organization immediately. But the fact that the RSF hasn't been labeled a terrorist organization says to me that they are definitely fighting for Western interests. It's sick, but I think it's pretty accurate. Hey, Platinum Pluto, welcome.
At this stage in the war.
Okay, now Trump has claimed that he's got full control of the Strait of Hormuz. Morbert. Welcome, Morbert. How are you? Yeah, Trump says he's got full control, but he's really clutching at straws now, isn't he?
At this stage in the war, almost 6 months after it started,
I want to
it's
be a
not
good
really
boy.
clear how seriously to take some of Donald Trump's social media missives. Time and time again, he's made sweeping policy announcements or declarations that a deal to end the war was imminent, only to walk back those comments or for those predictions to never come true. Keeping that in mind, Donald Trump has once again taken to his Truth Social account as negotiations with Iran remain stalled. He says the US has total control over the Strait of Hormuz, adding,
Oh, did he just go into the dressing room and grab it? Oh, gosh.
he thinks the country will keep it, saying the naval blockade of Iranian ships and ports is being called a wall of steel and there's nothing Iran can do about it. Taking a swipe at Tehran on the way through, saying Iran is all talk and no action, the bully of the Middle East is no longer. Now remember, Donald Trump has floated the idea of the US controlling the Strait of Hormuz before, even going so far as to say that the countries which use it to get their exports to sea should pay something of a protection fee to the United States for the privilege of using that waterway, that being the Gulf states in particular. That proposal lasted less than 24 hours, with those Gulf leaders getting in Donald Trump's ear and convincing him of taking another approach. This comment may well be fueled by the discussion around Iran and Oman trying to come to a deal on management of the Strait of Hormuz, something which is at odds with the US's general insistence that the Strait of Hormuz needs to be open and free of restriction as it was before this war began on February 28. Mediator Pakistan is continuing to speak to both sides, with ministers and diplomats holding meetings.
I was a little frustrated on TikTok without you, so I wandered from live to live. Yeah, there's going to be a few TikTok refugees. There's going to be a few TikTok refugees, I would assume. Scary posted a note on Discord as well, so I think people will know soon enough, and hopefully they move platforms. But if they don't, I can understand that as well. But the one thing is, pretty soon, I'm gonna launch with this platform to hold companies to account. So yeah, we can start putting more content out there related to holding companies to account. So I'm not worried, guys. Like, as sad as it is, to have a 190,000 follower account completely just blown up. It's kind of refreshing. It just feels like a bit of baggage has been lifted, but it still sucks. But we start again.
Meetings in Islamabad and the Iranian capital Tehran in recent days. A Turkish media outlet even reported there had been something of a breakthrough as a result of those talks. That being that Iran and the US had agreed to an extension of the 60-day ceasefire that was part of that original interim deal to end the fighting signed back in June, which fell apart just weeks later as the US and Iran exchanged fire across the Persian Gulf. Iranian sources quickly telling other media outlets that was not the case, insisting the US remains standing in the way of any deal there, that it's reneged on some of the key terms of that original.
Consent and autonomy mean less than nothing to this admin. It's gross. It's like they are waiting for accounts they don't like to play that video, probably.
Original agreement, and that it would be impossible at this point to return to that deal.
Yeah, there's no fucking way America has control of Hormuz Sea, okay? There is no way. America does not control the Strait of Hormuz. I'm telling you this right now. It is a lie. Trumpy is lying.
Yemeni authorities say at least 6 people have been killed in Houthi strikes on a commercial vessel. Jennifer Parker is an adjunct professor with the University of Western Australia's Defence and Security Institute and also a former warfare officer in the Australian Navy. And she joins me now from Canberra. Jennifer Parker, welcome and good morning. What do we know of what has happened here?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. So this small Egyptian-owned cargo vessel operating just to the south of the port of Mocha, which is in the southern part of the Red Sea, near the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, appears to have been struck by Houthi ballistic missiles. Now, the reporting is potentially 3. I'm not sure that number's necessary.
Oh, street smarts. Guess what I thought of? Hormuzzi. Oh, Hormuzzi. Wow.
Fairly reliable, but there has been
Grandma
lots of light,
Pinky,
as
hello.
you just mentioned. Now,
I was keeping you open on Twitch and TikTok at the same time because TT has better sound, and I could watch on here or YouTube. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Grandma Pinky. Hey, Truth Sensei. Trying to follow Trump's latest is a news I read a month later to see if anything happened. Yeah.
this is not the first Houthi attack on shipping. It's not the first Houthi attack on shipping during this
America's real and I guess enemy competitor is China. America needs to conserve its most advanced weaponry against China, but it doesn't have to go to war against China. You know, America could choose not to be the aggressor, and America can choose not to be a unipolar global police. It's a choice to have China as an enemy. It's a choice. So I just hope America pretty soon realizes that it can't continue to be this global hegemon in a world that's changing rapidly. Like, trying to hang on to it is the problem. So, I mean, let's see what America decides, but I have a feeling they will choose violence, and that's the sad part. Hey, Morty, welcome. It's okay. It was working for me, so now it's here. Oh, YT. It's good to have you here anyway.
Conflict. On the 20th of July, the Houthis declared a maritime blockade on Saudi Arabia. But this also comes in the wake of strikes over the weekend from...
I don't think many Americans actually care. I think many Americans are like you, the evangelist. I think many Americans don't care if the world is, more equitable for all. They've been made to believe that America is the victim for some reason. I don't think many Americans give a shit if the world becomes a multipolar world, but the people in power believe that it's a problem.
The Houthis on Saudi Arabian forces in Mocha, which is a port city that is controlled by the Yemeni internationally recognised government. So I think it links, of course, to the Iran conflict, but also to the civil war that is threatening to reignite in Yemen.
And just to have everyone up to speed here, who exactly are the Houthis and what are the connections with the Iran war, and how is this separate as well?
Well, the Houthis are a terrorist organisation operating in Yemen. They control large swathes of Yemen and have done so since the Yemeni civil war commenced in 2014. In 2015, Saudi Arabia led a coalition in Yemen to try and dislodge the Houthis. That was not successful, and there's been a ceasefire in place pretty much since 2022. Now, the Houthis have ballistic missiles and drones and all of those capabilities because they are supported by Iran. There's lots of evidence of Iran smuggling weapons to the Houthis, and they are considered what is a Houthi proxy, part of Iran's decentralised strategy to hold the region at risk through these network of relationships with Hezbollah, Hamas and the Houthis.
Now, we know with the war in Iran, the Strait of Hormuz, it remains severely disrupted. We're all feeling the effects of that. What does this escalation here that we're seeing mean for maritime routes and safety and ultimately, therefore, shipping?
Well, if you think about the reason ships aren't going through the Strait of Hormuz, it's because they don't have confidence, because a number of ships have been attacked by Iran since the Iran war commenced. And so when shipping doesn't have...
A number of ships have been attacked by Iran since the Iran war commenced. Like, it's all Iran's fault, everybody. Iran's doing this. Iran's doing this. It's all Iran's fault. Holy cannoli.
Reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
Have confidence to go through the Red Sea or the Bab el-Mandeb, you see a reduction which has an impact on the global economy. Now, the Bab el-Mandeb carries about 12% of the world's global trade.
Are you guys taking in political refugees from America yet in Aotearoa, Noisy? Yeah, the working class. If you're in the working class in America and you want to help support Maori self-determination, come on in. Come on in. Yahoo! You're my type of American now. Get dirt. Land back, motherfuckers. The home of the free. Land to the home of the free. Or some shit. Land back, baby. Hey man, Cletus's dad just went woke.
Normally, it has been less since the Houthis attacked shipping between 2023 and 2025. Now, unlike the Strait of Hormuz, there is an alternate route. So ships going from Europe to Asia, which the Bab el-Mandeb and the Red Sea is the main route for, can actually go around the south of Africa, the Cape of Good Hope, but it adds 14 days. Critically, though, Saudi Arabia, since it hasn't been able to get oil out of the Strait of Hormuz, has been piping oil down to the Red Sea and pushing it out through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. So any restriction of shipping going through the Bab el-Mandeb has a significant impact on oil flows.
So what do you see as the key risks should this escalate further in the Red Sea?
It's all of Iran's or Ivan's fault? Ivan's fault.
Look, the key risk to the global economy, of course, is that Saudi Arabia won't be able to get that oil out of the Red Sea. I think the broader risk, though, is actually this...
If you ask me what I rather have, Americans or Palestinians, I choose Palestinians as I worked with Americans still traumatized. Oh my gosh, straight up. It's just so straight up.
Internal conflict, this civil war that may reignite. And we saw a statement from the United Nations over the weekend talking about concern that this is the first time since 2022 that this may well reignite into a much larger civil war.
I think I heard it all. It's all Ivan's fault, but wasn't sure. Yeah, I mean the whole thing is fucked because of Ivan. We're all screwed because of Ivan. Okay. We got to discuss something here, and hopefully the leftist chuds join the channel. Yes, just like Blue Maga.
These live images coming through at the moment.
Yes, there's Blue Maga, but I also believe there is leftist chudism, and you know, and leftist chudism is usually very pro Bashar al-Assad, and I hope they come into this live while I show Syria is sentencing Bashar al-Assad to death. So where are the chuds? Please, if you know a leftist chud, invite them right now. Please. Let me just say this, okay? It doesn't matter what your politics are. If you can support, if your politics allows you to support a fucking dictator who has mass murdered so many people, no matter what you think that dictator was enabling that was supporting liberation, if you support that dictator because you think it's like the right thing to do, your politics is fucked. It's flawed. It's broken. If your politics requires you to support Bashar al-Assad, then your politics are fucked. Folks.
Right, well, we have these live images coming through at the moment. It's a verdict in the first ever trial of an Assad-era official due to be delivered there in Syria. Atef Najib, former head of security at Deraa, southern Syria province, being charged with at least 10 crimes, including murder, torture, and responsibility for massacres. He's also accused of...
You don't like Assad? What made you say that, the evangelist? What makes you think that way?
Overseeing a violent crackdown on anti-government protests in Deraa during the 2011 uprising. We can just have a listen to what is being at the moment discussed.
In the country, and life prison also was a verdict against him. And
non-interventionist is a cop-out. You should be an interventionist whenever you see human rights being violated en masse. You absolutely should be interventionist. But should you intervene in a country just because, you know, you want to spread democracy? No. Probably that's the non-interventionist route. But when it comes to genocide and mass murder and just killings, you should absolutely be an interventionist. Like you should talk about how your government in the US is complicit in genocide. Like you absolutely should be an interventionist. Otherwise, you won't know that the blood that has dried on your hand exists.
And
we all can see it. Hey, Anti-Wash.
Also 5 years in prison because of money laundering and other charges, and 6 years in prison because of other crimes. Atif Najib is also charged with creating rifts between the components of the country, and according to the laws of 367 was given 2-year imprisonment and fine 200,000 Syrian liras, 5 years imprisonment, and all these verdicts will go to the maximum, which is the life sentence, because of all his deeds and actions. All those who are not present also have their own verdicts. Mahir al-Assad, son of Hafiz, son of Anisa, Luay Ali bin Ali, son of Rima, Qusay Mayhoob, son of Ibrahim and Fatima, Wafiq Nasr Abu Saleh, son of Fatoum, Talal al-Aisi, son of Faris and Amiriya. They are charged of killing on purpose and torture and killing so many times. These are crimes against humanity, and these are war crimes at the same time. They have kidnapped so many people, and these are crimes against humanity. According to items 535, 216, and the Penal Code items H and A of the law for 2022.
I hope Bashar al-Assad gets extradited from his little bunker in fucking Russia. I hope he gets justice. I hope he gets his justice. As with any other war criminal on this earth, I hope he gets his justice.
And items A and C for the year 2013, they were given a life sentence. Ali bin Ali, Qusay Mayhoob, Talal al-Aisami. They also are charged with killing children less than 15 years old. These are crimes against humanity. And
I don't know how much time you guys have spent on the understanding what happened in Syria from 2013 onwards, when the people started to protest and Bashar al-Assad cracked down hard. Since then, I don't know how much time you spent on learning about what happened in Syria, but there are so many documentaries, so many like frontline videos of just journalists on the front line with all of these various groups that were fighting for control of different cities. It is the most horrific building to building, street to street warfare that you'll ever see. It is so fucking horrific, and it lasted for so long. it's like once you get an idea of what it was like to fight or what it may have been like, I mean, you'll never know fully, while Assad was carrying out airstrikes on heavily populated areas, displacing so many people, and all of that displacement crisis into Europe, while the West was courting Bashar al-Assad, while Iran was courting Bashar al-Assad, you have to understand the nature of how closed off international law was when it came to Bashar al-Assad and what he was doing. It should have been assigned to us then that Palestine, the genocide in Gaza, would be inevitable. It should have been assigned because international law looked away from Syria for so long, while Bashar al-Assad and all the groups that came up, like ISIS, carried out some of the most disgusting shit. And international law just looked the fuck away because there was oil money to be made. My goodness. And before people go, oh, so you're a fan of al-Jawlani. I'm not a fan of al-Jawlani. I have spoken to Syrian people as well on the ground. We had a Syrian lady the other day come in and show us her newborn, right? She was on camera on TikTok. That's the kind of stuff I'll miss about TikTok, is the connections we had, the people we knew, the relationships we built across the Middle East. Like we saw that lady. I'm for the people. And I am glad that the people of Syria are out of a 50-year dictatorship. They have a tough future ahead of them with all sorts of meddling from Israel, America, etc. But man, what al-Assad was doing to them, I'm glad that chapter is over. They're moving on to a new chapter. But Syria deserves Syria has the right to Syrians have the right to live happy lives, guys. They absolutely have the right to live happy lives and progress. And I'm just glad they've progressed out of that dictatorship and opened up the markets for themselves. I'm glad that's happening to them. But they have a rocky road ahead because all that shit could collapse. All of it could collapse if al-Jawlani makes the wrong move and the West is like, nah, fuck it, we're not supporting them anymore. So yeah, it's definitely, Syria's on thin ice right now. But I am so glad, after watching so much footage about what was happening on the front lines, I would not wish that on anybody. Even so, there are people will say, right, about Syria, here's a talking point that all of you need to be aware of. And that is, under Bashar al-Assad, Hezbollah was being armed. So Bashar al-Assad was letting arms go through from Iran to Hezbollah. So in turn, because Hezbollah was being armed, that meant that Hezbollah had the power to fight Israel and, threaten the Zionist state. Because then threatening the Zionist state means a free Palestine. And I will say this. If your version of liberation, even for the Palestinians, means the oppression of another, that is not liberation. That's remodeling oppression. If your liberation needs the Syrian people to be oppressed, the Syrian people to be in a constant civil war, that's not liberation. That's just moving the goalpost. Okay, so never ever fall into the trap of these narratives of like, oh, Bashar al-Assad was good because Hezbollah was getting armed. No, bro. Syrians deserve liberation too. The whole of the Middle East deserves liberation. You're not going to liberate the Middle East by picking and choosing who gets liberation and who doesn't. They've lost a lot of fucking people. You know, these Syrian people have been in constant war. I'm not trying to minimize what the Palestinians have been through. I'm just saying that Syrians also deserve liberation.
They were given life imprisonment. They are creating rifts between the components of the society in Syria, which can lead to a civil war. That's why life imprisonment is for them, and they will be, according to items 20 and 4 of the Penal Code. Also, they are accused of creating rifts between the component of the Syrian society according to the items of the Penal Code, and they were given 2-year imprisonment and a fine of 500,000 Syrian liras, and they were given life sentence.
Do you guys understand what I just said? Like, I just want to know. And do you have any questions about it? Because I feel like that is such a core part of who I am and my morality. I just want to understand from your perspective as well. Like, if you have an opinion about that, I want to understand from you. Don't feel like you can't ask me questions about it and try and test it and whatever.
This is according to item 204 of the Penal Code, and Ayman Ayush, according to the items 353, has taken all these charges, and the legal authorities will be asked to follow the accused, and also...
So the death sentence in this first ever trial of an Assad-era official...
There is a lack of nuance in the U.S. I understand and appreciate the point you made. Much appreciated. Yeah, just one camera. I think there's a lack of nuance in parts of the leftist movement. And I think that comes from lack of awareness of marginalized spaces. It's this purist view of leftism that takes people into areas that aren't actually very leftist at all. They get pulled into, I believe I'm more left than those people. Because my view of liberation is wider than theirs. Like, what is leftism if it's not about human rights?
Being delivered there in this Syrian court, Atef Najib, former head of security of Dera, southern Syria province, handed with that death sentence. Let's get straight to Damascus, and joining us live is Obeida Hito. Obeida, tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, it's not only Atef Najib, the former political security branch chief in the Daraa province, it's also the former ousted president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, his brother.
Hey, Starlings, what did you get permabanned for? I know it's easy to get banned there, but did they say? And I hate that happened. Yeah, Starlings, I got permabanned for hate speech. I played a video that was posted on TikTok, and I played that video. It was a black comedian who used the N-word. I didn't show the video on TikTok. It was just the sound, and they banned me. They banned me because of hate speech of a black comedian who used the N-word And that video was actually a post on TikTok.
Maher al-Assad and other co-defendants, including the former Minister of Defense, that have been sentenced to death by this court. This is a historic moment here in Syria. Atif Najib is the only one.
Like, I've been done for hate speech because I've lashed out at like rabid racists who were giving me like straight up racism, and I was just like, get the fuck out of my chat, go swipe away. Hitler live is, you know, a couple of swipes away, etc. And then they give me the hate speech slap down. It's like, bro, if I am not gonna stop speaking honestly against racists, right? But I can understand them giving me like a strike for that. I can understand that. I don't agree with it. I can understand it. This one was just so fucking weird. It wasn't, I wasn't even playing the video. Like, the video wasn't visible on TikTok. It was just the sound. And the guy is a black comedian who used the N-word. And that video that was being played was posted on TikTok.
One of the co-defendants that is actually standing trial here physically inside the country. The other co-defendants are all being sentenced in absentia. The judge has been reading out a statement that is describing
Yeah, Grandma Pinky, absolutely. Palestine is not free until Israel no longer exists as it is. Yeah, an apartheid state shouldn't be allowed to exist. An apartheid racist ethno-state shouldn't be allowed to exist, no matter which apartheid racist ethno-state it is. And Israel is a very violent example of that. More violent than many that have been in the past. We can see it. We can see it. We've been watching it in real time. 77 years, almost 80 years of this shit. So I agree. The problem, Grandma Pinky, is when people say things like, "Oh, Hezbollah need to be the way they are to free Palestinians," or Iran needs to be the way it is in order to free Palestinians, etc., etc., that takes away the Palestinian resistance. That takes away the work that Palestinians are doing themselves. And if you ask Palestinians on the ground in Gaza, they're not going to say, "Oh yeah, Iran is trying to free us." You know? It's Palestinians are freeing themselves. And that is the thing that we need to understand, is Palestinians are freeing themselves. They are the ones working for it. They are the ones who are sacrificing their blood for it. And I just feel when people start saying things like, "Oh yeah, Iran is freeing the Palestinians," it's bullshit. Yeah, Iran is trying to keep themselves free. Great. Self-determination is incredible, but don't conflate everything, right? Like, it's just I don't know, guys. Like, it bothers me, you know? And when I heard that Complainy Laney banned a person from our community for asking why the hell she would support Bashar al-Assad, I can't get over that, you know? It's like, I understand who Complainy Laney is. And, yeah, the fact that she has been clipping my stuff and not engaging with me directly says a lot about her too. You seem to like history streamer. Have you ever heard of the author William Guy Carr before? His books Pawns in the Game, The Red Fog Over America, and Satan, Prince of This World. According to the internet, someone rammed him over while he was on his way home. His books are outdated, but still very good reads. No, I've not heard of him. The Red Fog Over America sounds like some anti-communist shit. Their assistance to other causes is simply trying to hold back the US and Israel. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Iran's for Iran, and that's fine. Admit it. Admit that and move on.
The decision process and the legal process that has been going on since January 31st, when Atif Najib was captured in Latakia province. He actually fled the country when Bashar al-Assad was toppled in December 2024 and then returned to Syria. Thereafter, he was captured in Latakia in January of this year, and since then, he's attended 8 court sessions, and today is the day of the sentence.
What's that, Sylvie? Sorry. Are you talking about the evangelist or Grandma Pinky? I'm not sure what you think is wrong.
A historic moment indeed. People are gathered here around the courthouse and I think are relieved that this is happening in this way. Syria has come a long road since Bashar al-Assad fell. The country has been trying to reconcile more than 5 decades of dictatorship led by the Assad family. Over the last 18 months or so, the new transitional government passed a transitional constitution, which is the framework by which the legal system and the legal proceedings continued. The legal process has been quite difficult because Syria is not a party to many international accords for human rights, like the Rome Statute. There are also issues related to the laws that the new government inherited from the previous government. So it's been a mix of domestic laws and international laws that resulted in these sentences. We heard the judge describe specifically.
Yeah, Sylvie, but Hamas is not like the complete. Hamas doesn't represent all of the Palestinian struggle, right? Hamas represents one part of they have come in the 80s. But the Palestinian struggle has been there for a very long time. This is why conflating things like the IRGC helping Palestinians is again like not understanding that Palestinian struggles are wider than just Hamas. It's bigger. Hamas isn't the entirety of Palestinian resistance. It has never been. AI says William Guy, a Canadian naval officer and explicitly anti-communist. Yeah, I thought so. Like Palestinian resistance will continue after Hamas. You know, like to just say, yeah, Iran talks to Hamas fighters, and then that means Iran has an influence on Palestinian liberation is just. I think that is the simplification.
Use of the Rome Statute, specifically the 7th article of the Rome Statute, to basically find these individuals guilty of crimes against humanity here in the country. The charges against them are actually quite numbered. They include attacking peaceful demonstrators, extrajudicial killings, forced disappearances, the detention and torture of children, preventing people from receiving medical care, attacks on medical workers. Atif Najib is specifically being sentenced for his role in the events at the very start of the revolution in Daraa province in 2011. This is when some young children were detained by the security forces in Daraa for writing graffiti on a school wall against the regime at the time, and there was an incident where a police...
Yeah, the guy sounds like some sort of evangelical douchebag to me, the evangelist. Not saying that because of your name, but... You know. To me, it just feels like just some hardcore American dude who's He is best remembered today as a conspiracy theorist, the most influential source in creating the American Illuminati demonology. Shiny! Woo! Coming in with a banger. He is best remembered today as a conspiracy theorist, the most influential source in creating the American Illuminati demonology. Oh! I honestly, I didn't know that, but by the name of his books, I could fucking tell the guy is the guy is a bit of a, conspiracy theorist. Evangelist, like, you need to really read outside your circle of influence, because the shit you're reading is not opening your mind. It's narrowing it.
A police station was burnt, and because of those events, these children were detained. The people of Daraa, their families.
No, I won't read people like that who are avid conspiracy theorists. Like, yeah, I'll get a summary about them, but what do you mean? Read it with an open mind. It's all bullshit. It's all lies. Like, it's Red Scare bullshit. Like, why would I read that stuff? It's such a waste of time. I would much rather read, like, another book by Frantz Fanon or Gerald Horne or something. Like, why would I waste my time reading a conspiracy theorist?
Families went out and protested. They were demanding the return of these children. Some of them died in detention. Others were tortured, treated very badly. We spoke to one of those young men who is now grown up.
Yeah, that summary isn't from ChatGPT. What Shiny gave you is a summary from his Goodreads profile.
But
Hamas is the best group for national liberation at the moment? Do you still think so? Do you still think Hamas is the best group for national liberation right now? Honestly? Like, with everything that's happened? Like, Hamas has no leverage anymore. Neither do the Palestinian Authority. Neither do the Palestinian Authority. Like, the Palestinian people are, once again, the Palestinian people are once again left to fend for themselves. They don't have any protection. Hamas isn't protecting them. They're getting bombed. Indiscriminately. They're going through a genocide, and they have been left alone. Like, this is the thing about groups that come and go. You got to understand, like, they are by themselves again, like, literally by themselves again. They are fending for themselves again. They were doing this pre-Hamas. They were doing this while the PLO existed. They're going to do it post-Hamas as well. That's the problem here. Hey, cutie boo-boos, welcome. To say that Hamas is the end-all and be-all of Palestinian resistance is crazy. Hamas is one chapter of it.
When he was detained, he was only 15 years old. He was tortured. He was spoken to in very poor ways. He was electrocuted, beaten. This is not just one person. There were...
Yeah, I mean, them being the last elected group makes no difference. Like, the other thing is, when Hamas was elected, more than 50% of the population didn't vote. Only 33% could vote at that time. Because most of the youth couldn't even vote at that time. Like, most of the people who voted at that time, most of Gaza was just young people, man, like, who couldn't vote. Yeah, Hamas was chosen. Yeah, Hamas was chosen, but out of the people that could vote, 33% of the people who could vote voted for Hamas. Right? Like, I get you. I get what we're trying to say here, that Hamas is there now and they are the military that's protecting them or claiming to protect them. But the Palestinian struggle will outlive Hamas. It will it predates Hamas and it will outlive Hamas. It's a fact.
Dozens of people that were treated in this same way by Atif Najib and according to orders given by Atif Najib in Daraa in 2011. That sparked the Syrian revolution, which got us to where we are today. The ouster of Bashar al-Assad, the former dictator of Syria, and now the court here in Damascus serving him a death sentence, both to Atif Najib as well as the former president Bashar al-Assad, his brother, who was the head of the 4th Division, which was involved in military actions throughout the country, known for its extreme violence, attacks on civilians, airstrikes and helicopter attacks on civilian infrastructure like hospitals and schools. And so this is something that Syrians were really waiting for with great hopes. And based on the reactions that I'm seeing around me, people are...
Respect of the people. I think that's an assumption, man. Like I honestly feel like we should never ever, no matter what government group it is, we should never ever be so attached to government groups. Because I feel these things are changeable, but the people of that land are just going to remain. Like, it's their struggle that I look at, you know? There'll be various groups that come up that claim to represent everybody there. There'll be other groups too, but it's the people, man. It's the people who live there, who make their lives there, who do not belong to a military, who are trying to make a living. Those people will continue to be there. It's their struggle. It's the people who even if Rafah opens, they won't leave. They'll live in the rubble. And it's those people that Israel is most terrified of. It's the people who will just stay there, you know, not attack Israel or anything. Just stay there. They just live there. They survive. Israel can't handle that. That's what threatens Israel the most.
Welcoming this decision by the court to serve these defendants with a death sentence with open arms.
Just to recap here, the Syrian court has unanimously convicted fugitive former President Bashar al-Assad of murder. Also, Atif Najib, his former head of security for Daraa in southern Syria province. Now, Obeida, how significant is this trial in the context of Syria's ongoing transition? Is it all part of a healing process, as you alluded to earlier?
I think.
By the way, it was Osama Hamdan himself in an interview with Dropsite News. He was the one who said, "This is not a religious war. We're not fighting the Jews. We're fighting an occupier." He went on to say, even if the occupier was Muslim, we would fight them. Right? So, to me, Hamas is an organization that has formed and is and is there now. But that is the mindset of the Palestinian people, is they're resisting occupation. And even if there were Muslim people, even if Iranians came and took their land, they would fight them. Or they would resist against that oppression. So the Palestinian struggle, guys, like, don't conflate the struggle, because they have put their bodies on the line. Hamas is one part, one representation of the resistance. There's others too, right there, your Flexo, that aren't militarized. They're not militarized. They're just people living their lives, right? The fishermen fishing, the people just living in the tents, the teachers who are working for UNRWA. You know, that's all types of resistance too.
I think there are two parts to why this is significant. One part is
the people who are cooking food every day.
As you mentioned, the healing process. The country is engaged in a transitional justice process. The new government has established several institutions and bodies to ensure that this transitional process is followed through with, like a committee for missing persons, as well as a committee for people to file complaints against those individuals affiliated with the former regime that violated their rights. But on the other hand, the legal issues that are being discussed today are going to set the precedent for future legal actions taken against anyone that was involved in these crimes. While Atif Najib has been issued a death sentence today and Bashar al-Assad in absentia, there were many soldiers and other high-level officers that were also involved. Some of them have been captured here in the country. Others are still on the run. And this is going to set a very strong...
I'm not saying armed resistance is not legit. There's more to it, right? That's all I'm saying, is there's more to it. And to say that Iran is helping the Palestinians get liberation is ignoring that fact. Yeah, Iran might be talking to Hamas, but Hamas isn't the only liberation movement there. You know, there are people who don't have weapons, who just live there, who are resisting too. So let's not forget that. It's just the Palestinian people are who I am completely with, not organizations, the Palestinian people.
Precedent for future legal proceedings against those individuals and not as soldiers as part of a military institution. And this is something that I think is going to bring a lot of relief to the Syrian people and opens the door for a healing process, like you said, for people here in Syria to recover from not only these last...
Just like in Iran, I am not for, I personally, I am not for theocracy. I am not for monarchy. Okay. And I think there are many people in Iran who hold the same views, and those same people do not believe in foreign intervention. They have chosen to side with the current government at the moment because their lives are in danger. But for them, they would much rather have a liberated, view of the world. So I steer clear of being so doggedly supportive of governments. I just steer clear of it always, because I think governments, it's the people. They are the ones. Alliance of convenience to resist the greater forces that be. Yeah.
15 years of violence, but also decades of dictatorial rule that saw the forced disappearance of people, torture and killing, and millions of people have been affected by these actions that were given by order from people like Atif Najib in support of Bashar al-Assad. But now all of that has come to an end, and people are going to be able to take a deep breath and start to heal after hearing these sentences given by the court here in Damascus.
That's it, DJ Hall.
So, Obeida, how is this likely to be received on the streets of Damascus in particular?
Well, I want to show you, if you will, allow me, I want to show you the courthouse. This is the courthouse here, and you can see how things are pretty smoothly running. Over the last several months, there have been many court dates where Atif Najib was physically brought.
That's why it's like, whenever I say like I'm against Bashar al-Assad, people are like, oh, so you're pro Jolani. Nah, bro. I just watched a whole bunch of Syrian fucking people celebrating that they have liberation. Jolani committed war crimes too. Like, his people committed fucking war crimes against the Alawite community. Like, they did. They killed a whole bunch of them. They should be held to account. Like, to me, what I'm seeing in Syria, its borders are the largest it's been controlled by the government since the civil war ended, since Bashar al-Assad was ousted. Syria's border hasn't been this united in a long time. Even with Israel threatening to take more, right? And I think from a people strength perspective, Syria is getting stronger in terms of its people. Like, the people have more means to stand up to their oppressor now. That's not a bad thing. I think people will only understand how bad Syria was in that civil war under Bashar al-Assad. Like, just watch the frontline stuff. It's fucking insane what they were doing. Like, I watched one where a guy literally just he was part of some group on the ground, and he's got his vest, a bomb basically, and he's saying goodbye to all of his people, all of his comrades, I guess, and he was carrying out a mission where he's drive his car up, run up the building where Assad's forces were, and try and kill them. If he couldn't, he just, blew himself up. And he ended up killing like 13 of Assad's forces or something. But that's the kind of warfare it was. It was so fucking brutal, close range, for so long. Unimaginable shit was happening. And there are fucking so-called leftists on this platform who will say Bashar al-Assad was good. So fucking shameless.
Here to the courthouse, attended the court proceedings. Witnesses have come and given their testimonies, some of them in public and some of them in private. There were many protests from people who were outside of the courthouse as well as inside of the courthouse, trying to pressure the government, basically saying that they wanted to see justice served. And today they've seen that, but you see things are fairly calm. There aren't any real celebrations here in the street, but there are people gathered around. You can see all across the sidewalk here, the people gathered around.
Yeah, authoritarian leftists are just as scary as rightists. Absolutely. And I think we have to be aware of it, because that is not leftism. Authoritarian leftism is not a real thing. It's just not. Yeah, Stalin wasn't a good guy for many reasons, because he also used the votes of the Soviet Union to partition Palestine. The Soviet Union had 5 votes at the UN when the resolution to partition Palestine came up. The Soviet Union could have stopped the partition of Palestine. They used their 5 votes for it. This is anti-communist talk? Like, are you serious? Like, do you not understand? Oh my gosh, hold on, man. Yeah, like literally, this is a communist website. You can go check it out. Stalin's responsibility in the creation of Israel and its disastrous consequences. Like, I'm not fucking making this up, Sylvie. Like, it's not. You know what the biggest problem with like so-called communists and Marxists, especially like white communists and white Marxists, is they forget the role of white privilege and white supremacy a lot. And I think it's a constant issue that I find, especially in leftist spaces, is acknowledging that Stalin was a reprehensible human being is not anti-communist. It's not. It's pro-human rights. Like, how can you be a leftist and be anti-human rights? Stalin was as responsible for the Nakba as the West was. Like, this is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of communists, especially in the West, but it's just a fact.
They're hearing all of this information. I heard some people shout in celebration very briefly, and then they moved on. Things are going on pretty normally here, but I think most Syrian people are very welcoming of this decision because it's something they've waited for a long time. It's something that they've been asking for. They want to see these people that tortured their children, that displaced them from their homes, destroyed their communities.
Like, I'll read this for you. I'll read this. The Palestinian people were forcibly expelled from their homeland by Zionist armed militias in 1948 in an event which remains in their collective historical memory as the Nakba, or the catastrophe. The Zionist project had always envisaged such a development, and all genuine revolutionary communists had consistently been opposed to the Zionist ideology. Why then did Stalin abandon the position of one state for the two peoples, Palestinian and Jewish, and come out in support of partition in 1947, together with the subsequent setting up of a separate Jewish state? Lenin opposed the reactionary ideology of Zionism. He understood that the Zionist project could only be achieved at the expense of the Palestinian people. At the Second Congress of the Communist International in 1920, the thesis on the national and colonial questions drafted by Lenin stated, the Zionist-Palestine affair can be characterized as a gross example of the deception of the working classes of that oppressed nation by étant imperialism and anyway, imperialism and the bourgeoisie of the country in question pooling their efforts in the same way that Zionism in general actually delivers the Arab working population of Palestine, where Jewish workers only form a minority, to exploitation by England under the cloak of the creation of a Jewish state in Palestine. The question has to be asked, therefore, as to why Stalin adopted a position which was diametrically opposite to that of Lenin. Stalin actually played a key role in getting the infamous 1947 UN resolution that partitioned Palestine adopted with the required 2/3 majority of the UN Assembly. Present-day supporters of Stalin prefer that we bury and forget these facts. They would like to uphold the myth that they, the Stalinists, have always opposed Zionism. Others have attempted to find justification for Stalin's betrayal of those basic principles that were established during the first 4 Congresses of the Communist International. Unfortunately for them, historical facts are difficult to erase, and the truth is concrete. No amount of contorted arguments can in any way justify what Stalin did. Let us look at how and why this complete abandonment of Lenin's position came about, and also how this key event impacted communist parties, particularly in the Middle East. In the years building up to this, the official Soviet position had remained that of opposition to the creation of a Jewish state in Palestine. The Soviet government continued to put forward the idea of one state for 2 peoples. The communist parties in the Middle East and around the world publicly campaigned against the Zionist project. That said, on more than one occasion, high-ranking Soviet diplomats during and immediately after the Second World War were involved in encounters with leading Zionist figures in which they expressed support, or at least sympathy, for the creation of a Jewish state in Palestine. It was evident that behind the scenes, the policy of the Soviet government was changing. Records show that as early as 1940, shortly after the 1939 Hitler-Stalin Pact, in which Poland was divided between Germany and the Soviet Union, something was moving on this front. Yeah, let's not forget that Hitler and Stalin signed an agreement, okay? So that's not anti-communist, that's just what happened. Because there was a large Jewish population in Poland, a significant number of Polish Jews were now under Soviet rule. Zionist leaders saw in this an opportunity for increased migration of Jews to Palestine. In his Moscow's Surprise, the Soviet-Israeli alliance of 1947 to 1949, using archive material from the Soviet Union, Laurent Rucker provides interesting details about contact between Soviet diplomats and important figures within the Zionist leadership. The source for details of this encounter comes from Sovetsko Izraelsky Odnoshenia Sobornik Dokumentov 1941 to 1953. Okay, so that's like the source. Official documents on Soviet-Israeli relations. A meeting that took place in January 1941 between Chaim Weizmann, the president of the World Zionist Organization, and Ivan Maisky. Oh, Ivan mentioned. Ivan Maisky, the Soviet ambassador of the UK, was very revealing, according to Rucker. Weizmann brought up the future of Palestine. Maisky stated that there would have to be an exchange of populations in Palestine in order to settle Jews from Europe. Weizmann replied that if 500,000 Arabs could be transferred, 2 million Jews could be put in their place. Maisky did not appear to be shocked by the idea. Rucker continues. The catastrophic change in the position of the Soviet Union following the German invasion of the USSR just 5 months later offered the Zionists an opportunity to expand on their early contacts. They began to pursue more forcefully 2 major goals: to reach an agreement with Moscow that would allow Polish Jews in the Soviet Union to emigrate to Palestine, and 2, to convince the anti-Zionist Bolshevik leaders that the creation of a Jewish state in Palestine would not be contrary to their interests. This was followed by a meeting in London in October 1941 by Maisky and David Ben-Gurion, then president of the Jewish Agency and later founder of the Israeli Defense Force and Israel's first prime minister. And in 1943, Maisky again met with Weizmann, reassuring him that the Soviet government understood the aims of the Zionists and would certainly stand by them. Rucker. Maisky even visited Palestine and met with Ben-Gurion, and he seems to have been very impressed with what the Zionists were building there. As we can see, Moscow was already considering the possibility of supporting the setting up of a Jewish state in Palestine, which would necessarily include the removal of 500,000 Palestinians from their homeland, although this was not made public. The official position remained that of opposition to a solely Jewish state and support for a single binational state. That was their official position, but in the background, they were fucking around. In 1943, Stalin had dissolved the Communist International, having no use for it, as he had long before abandoned the perspective of world revolution. It was also a gesture to please his then allies in the West, Churchill and Roosevelt, amidst the Second World War. The Stalin regime behaved in the same manner over the question of Palestine, with sovereign foreign policy being conducted entirely behind the backs of national communist parties. The encounters between Soviet diplomats and key leading figures in the Zionist movement were thus completely unknown to both the ranks and the leaderships of these parties. So this is what I want white leftists to understand. I'm very specifically speaking to white leftists and white progressives. When you stand with leftism, like real marginalized communities, when you vote with marginalized communities, you are voting against your own privilege. Okay? You are voting against white privilege. In my opinion, when that reality starts to set in, white leftists have a reality check. Many. Not all, but a few. Okay? And to me, this is why marginalized spaces are often very skeptical about white leftism. It's because if something impacts you as a leftist, say there's an attack on a marginalized community, white leftists can always lean on their white privilege. You can always go back to your privilege. You can lean on your white privilege. Other minority groups can't. You have to be aware of this in marginalized spaces, white leftists. You have to, because that is what you have. Your privilege doesn't go away because you identify as a leftist. This is uncomfortable. This is also mainly the reason why I know the chatter who did it. When I brought the subject up, they got a little snowflakey and then we blocked them because they were being absolutely shameless. They were being absolutely shameless in chat and could not swallow that fact. And now, guess who? Complainy Laney is fucking clipping my shit and trying to like make me look like the bad guy. Leftist spaces need to be aware that if people in leftist spaces, white people in leftist spaces, do not acknowledge the role of white supremacy and white privilege in society, that space is not a leftist space. That is not a leftist space. In 1947, Gromyko speech at the UN. Palestine was then under British mandate, but Britain was declining as a power and faced the loss of its empire. It could no longer sustain its presence in Palestine and was actually seen as an enemy by the local Zionists, whose aim of setting up a Jewish state was in conflict with the interests of British imperialism at the time. Britain, at various times, made noises that could have been interpreted as promising Palestine both to the Arabs and to the Jews. Yes, in Churchill's white paper, in 1922, read it. Even Churchill calls it Palestine at that time. Israel as a promise did not even exist at that stage. Israel was not a promise in the British Mandate legal documents. It was always Palestine. This was in line with their tested method of divide and rule. British imperialism, in fact, opposed the setting up of a separate Jewish state. By the way, thank you for the 100 bits, the other Jen. Thank you. British imperialism, in fact, opposed the setting up of a separate Jewish state. This was not out of any love for the Palestinians. Its main concern was to establish friendly relations with the oil-rich Arab regimes in the region. Yes, so this again comes back to why Balfour was so keen to establish a Zionist state, right? He was so keen because, as this says, Britain couldn't sustain it, but then it gave people like Balfour two positive things: expelling Jewish people from Europe. Balfour was a heavy anti-Semite, by the way. Expelling Jews from Europe to a different place, i.e. Palestine, and having a foothold in the Middle East to maintain British hegemony in the Middle East. So an outpost of British imperialism. That's the opportunity Britain saw in the Zionist state, in the partition plan. But by the end of the Second World War, the power to decide the destiny of Palestine lay with Washington, aided by Moscow and not London. That explains why, in February 1947, the UK government decided to relinquish its mandate and hand over the task of establishing the future status of the territory to the newly established United Nations. And guess what? The United Nations was basically formed out of the embers of what were those fucking people called, bro? Oh, these names are so cucky, bro. What were those? What was fuck? I can't honestly. I keep forgetting this name. The League of Nations. Thank you. The League of Nations. Yes. What a cucky name, honestly. By the way, one arc that you guys definitely need to investigate is why Japan went full Japan like they did. Japan actually tried to get into the League of Nations, but they weren't allowed because basically they weren't white. And Japan got pissed off, and that's how the whole Japan arc, that set off, or it reinforced to Japan that they weren't invited, and it made them far more nationalist. It is in this context that Andrei Gromyko, the representative of the Soviet Union at the United Nations, delivered an important speech to the UN General Assembly on 14th May 1947. Its content came as a shock to millions of communists who adhered to the official communist parties all over the world. However, it was particularly shocking to the ranks of these parties in the Arab world. It was a speech about the setting up of the Special UN Committee on Palestine. Gromyko spoke at length, highlighting the plight facing large numbers of displaced Jews in Europe at the end of the Second World War. He was clearly preparing the ground for what would come later that year. In the speech, Gromyko stated, "The fact that no Western European state has been able to ensure the defense of the elementary rights of the Jewish people and to safeguard it against the violence of the fascist executioners explains the aspirations of the Jews to establish their own state." Hey, Manda, it would be unjust not to take this into consideration and to deny the right of the Jewish people to realize this aspiration. It would be unjustifiable to deny this right to the Jewish people, particularly in view of all it has undergone during the Second World War. He then went on to list 4 different possible solutions to the question. 1, the establishment of a single Arab-Jewish state with equal rights for Arabs and Jews. The partition of Palestine into 2 independent states, 1 Arab and 1 Jewish. The establishment of an Arab state in Palestine without due regard for the rights of the Jewish population. The establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine without due regard for the rights of the Arab population. In his concluding remarks, he stated that an independent, dual democratic, homogeneous Arab-Jewish state would be the only way of guaranteeing the rights of both the Jewish and the Palestinian population. However, he then added that should this prove impossible to apply, the partition of Palestine into 2 independent autonomous states, 1 Jewish and 1 Arab, would have to be considered, i.e., manufacturing consent for the Nakba. Subsequent history shows that the speech was, in fact, preparing the ground for the Soviet Union to give full backing to the Zionist project of expelling hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from their homeland and the setting up of Israel. In effect, carrying out what Maisky had discussed with leading Zionists just a few years earlier. But most importantly, the words matched the hard facts. Between 1947 and 1949, the Soviet Union provided full backing to the Zionists politically and militarily, and even by facilitating greater migration of Jews from Eastern Europe to Israel. A member of the Soviet Union delegation, S. Sarapkin, delivered a speech at the UN on 13th October 1947, in which he went further than Gromyko, publicly stating the Soviet Union's support for the partition of Palestine. As Rucker states, the USSR was becoming an ardent supporter of the Zionist cause. This is not anti-communist shit. This is the reality. Hey, Toffee, welcome. Yeah, I got fully banned. Fully banned. Like, Sylvia, I need you to understand. This is the reality, if you're still here. This is the reality of it. Like, I'm not trying to spread anti-communist shit. This is the world that we live in. This is why the Palestinians went through the Nakba. Okay? It's not hating on communism or communists to state this. Anyway, I'll let you guys read the rest of it. The USSR votes for the creation of Israel. Boom. It's all here. Please, please read it. Okay? Just read it.
He was the dictator who, with his London-born wife, once met the Queen, but a decade later used chemical weapons to kill his own people. Under Bashar al-Assad, around 500,000 Syrians died in over 13 years of civil war before he fled into exile in Moscow. And in a Damascus courthouse today, the cheers of Syrians who survived his blood-stained rule, after a judge condemned Assad and his brother Maher to death.
بشار الأسد ابن حافظ
For murder, for torture, for crimes against humanity, the judge said, including intentionally killing children. Syria's revolution of 2011 began in the city of Deraa, inspired by the toppling of the leaders of Tunisia and Egypt. Assad's cousin Atef was his security chief here, no mere bystander to the torture and killing which followed. 15 years later, Atef Najib now in the dock and sentenced to execution. The courtroom cage today keeping him safe from the families of his many victims. Outside, they celebrated the verdicts, holding up pictures of those they had lost, those who were murdered or made to disappear. This wave of emotion shared by millions of Syrians who sought refuge in Turkey and in Europe.
I was detained by the Assad regime. They took me from my school when I was 13 years old. Thank God Assad fell and Atef Najib will be executed. And God willing, it will be Bashar Assad's turn next.
This is Syria's president now, an astonishing turnaround for an ex-jihadist who led his fighters into Damascus, made welcome in Downing Street a few months ago. Ahmed al-Sharaa may be walking the world stage, but it's in front of his own war-ravaged people that he needs to be seen to be delivering justice.
All good, the other Jen. The world is a weird place, and when we start deconstructing models of the world, like even the ones that are shoved down by us by ardent supporters of various regimes, like we have to be clear-eyed, and we have to be we have to be focused on a value system, on some sort of morality that keeps our feet on the ground, you know, like human rights for all. It's simple. Contributing to making the world an equitable place for all. Simple. But if we can keep coming back to that and keep pushing ourselves based on our, a simple moral code to just dig a little bit deeper, I think we start to uncover things that are very much new to us, and that can open our eyes just a little bit more. But I feel like some people have closed themselves off to these things.
Yet Bashar al-Assad is under the protection of his old friend Vladimir Putin, and the Russians aren't about to hand him over.
If they wanted to deliver him, they would have left him to rot inside Syria, right? They gave him an exit, and that matters for them, for Russia, and it's not about Bashar Assad. They don't want to say to the rest of the world that our own guy, we deliver our own guy, and he's going to face a humiliating end in his own land.
Russia has 2 military bases in Syria. A few days ago, it struck a deal with Syria's new leader to keep some of its forces here. Just how many isn't clear. What does seem clear is that Russia is unlikely to give these Syrians the justice they still seek.
Yeah, I hope one day Palestine can get that justice. Okay. Let's talk about there's more war stuff. Wait, let me just see what this war is. Can you believe it? There's so much war shit going on. I don't even know. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about climate, everybody. Let's talk about the climate. Oh, we're back on the climate. How do you feel? Do you feel warm?
Now.
Hey, Spencer.
The new...
This is not early stream. I stream at this time every day.
Riverbeds.
Okay. Let's go. Climate, everybody. Climate time.
The timber fire is prompting new evacuation orders as it continues to grow in Monterey County. CAL FIRE says the new immediate evacuation order covers the area from the East Malera Trail to the Big Sur River in the south. 250 structures remain threatened. The timber fire has burned nearly 3,000 acres. It is 5% contained tonight. Highway 1, by the way, now closed in the area. It is a 10-mile stretch between Fernwood Resort and Julia Pfeiffer Burns State Park Vista Point. The county says all state parks in the Big Sur area have been evacuated. All right, that fire causing a dip in air quality across parts of the Bay Area. The Bay Area Air District issuing an advisory at least until tomorrow, as smoke is expected to drift from Monterey County into the South Bay as well as the East Bay. Meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez with us now. We've been pretty lucky when it comes to smoke in the Bay Area this fire season. Tonight, though, it's drifting up, it seems.
Do you remember last week, however, we had that air quality advisory because of the fires of the Pacific Northwest?
Couldn't really smell it, though.
No,
right?
and you really couldn't see it. It wasn't that problematic, but today was. I could definitely see it in the East Bay, Pleasanton, Livermore, driving into Oakland. All of a sudden, there was some blue sky, much more favorable conditions. But yes, because of the fire in the Big Sur area, the timber fire. Let's take a look at the current conditions. Our closest reporting station happens to be right there along the coast. That's why the air temperature is 61. But it's still breezy, but good news for firefighting efforts. The relative humidity has increased now to 82%. When you see the red here, that indicates that the fire is growing because this is our last detection of some fire. Meanwhile, air quality, again, as Mike was alluding to, we do have
guys, I am thirsting for a fucking coffee. I'm gonna grab a coffee quickly. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back, okay? I'll be right back. Here's some shitty dubstep for you. Yay, climate change. Yeah, give me 1 sec, guys. I'll be back.
Free Palestine. Consciousness. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Global consciousness. Global consciousness. Free Palestine.
Consciousness. Free Palestine.
Hello, friends. Hello. Radio. Let's go.
Have that air quality advisory in effect for tonight, I should say, tomorrow and on Wednesday. East Bay, South Bay, moderate air quality. It's never a good thing when you can see the air that you breathe. In addition to that, we have that coastal flood advisory in effect. You're going to see some ponding of water on the roadways and sidewalks near the Embarcadero, also Bay Farm, also in the Sausalito area. You know the spots. It's right before midnight tonight, and we'll keep a watchful eye on that. That's going to be the biggest overflow of water. That will be tonight, but it will continue until Thursday. Tonight overnight, our temperatures into the 50s and few 60s as well. 59 overnight in throughout the Tri-Valley. Again, this is our live weather camera. We do have temperatures anywhere from 59 degrees in Half Moon Bay to 80 degrees in Concord, low 80s in Fairfield. These are current air temperatures. A pair of 6s in Salinas. Sure, it's breezy. Winds begin to subside after sunset tonight and then will increase again tomorrow. More of a southerly flow ushering in that plume of smoke into the Bay Area, especially the South Bay and East Bay. Winds right now, Santa Rosa 13, 22 in the Fairfield area. Thunderstorm activity right there in the Sierra Nevada area. This is about 300 miles just offshore southwest of Point Conception. We could see a 10% chance of a thunderstorm from it. Slim chance. Meanwhile, fire weather watch in effect for the Greater Lake Tahoe area. Gusty outflow of winds from that system. I wanted to share this real quickly with you because as you take a look at the cloud cover, it's a wrinkle in our forecast for the Perseid meteor shower, which takes place tomorrow night and Thursday morning. Meanwhile, let's back it up. Tomorrow's daytime high, 65 at the coast to 85 in Fairfield. Your extended forecast, that slight chance of a thunderstorm tomorrow and Thursday. Boy, unseasonably cool for the weekend, Mike.
Got it, Roberta. Thank you.
Now, here in the UK, the Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, is chairing a meeting of the government's Emergency Cobra Committee this afternoon to discuss the extreme heat. The Met Office have issued an amber heat warning for parts of England on Thursday, when temperatures could reach up to 38 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, a report by the progressive think tank Verdant suggests that the heat waves in June and July may have cost the UK economy more than £4 billion in lost economic output due to reduced productivity and overheating infrastructure. Well, our political correspondent Joe Pike explains why Andy Burnham is holding this emergency Cobra meeting today.
There are a number of different reasons, Kasia, that Andy Burnham wants to highlight issues, talk.
What's for lunch? It was just a bit of chocolate cake, Cass. I just had a bit of a sweet tooth. Well, what's happening in the UK? This heat wave just keeps getting worse, eh? Folks in the UK, I'm worried for you. I've got white friends who wear shorts and t-shirts in winter, and they're suffering so much right now. I wear shorts and t-shirts in the winter as well. Like I don't wear particularly warm clothes in the winter. But yeah, it's Salam scary.
To officials were expecting to attend that meeting include those from the Cabinet Office, the Met Office, responsible for sort of monitoring weather, as well as the Environment Agency. Partly this is about ensuring firefighters dealing with wildfires have the resources they need. Partly that farmers who are so important for food security in the food chain have the right support, but also those public service workers in places like hospitals that are having to cope with hot weather. In my conversation with the Number 10, they've rejected that today's emergency meeting is any response to what opposition parties have been saying about this. Certainly the Green Party called for an emergency meeting. Their leader in England and Wales, Zach Polanski, also wanting to talk about Andy Burnham's approach to more drilling in the North Sea, something the Green Party oppose, and something that it's been reported Andy Burnham might be considering more of that, of course, a central debate around climate change, which, of course, feeds into...
I'm down south of San Fran, near Santa Barbara, and we are bracing for this winter and waiting our turn for another fucking fire. I hope your air isn't chunky up there. Oh, man. This is so rich. Andy Burnham holding a Cobra meeting on extreme heat while doubling down on drilling in the North Sea. Yeah, the oil refineries, eh? Oh my gosh, Burnham is so full of shit.
To extreme weather too. We're expecting that Cobra meeting to take place this afternoon, and we'd like to hear from Andy Burnham on camera soon after.
Michigander, I'm not loving the heat and smoke. Oh my gosh. The smoke, man. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this shit. We're in a climate emergency, folks.
We have a new subscriber. Welcome to the Noisy Crew.
BBL Ben Shapiro. What up? What up?
Globalized intifada.
Thank you for the sub. Thank you so much for the sub, BBL Ben Shapiro. Great name, by the way. BBL Ben Shapiro is like top. What a great name. UK is in a drought. Crazy, honestly. I ate too much chocolate in my life. Nowadays, if I eat like more than one chocolate, like 80 to 100 grams, I get like acid reflux in seconds. Yeah, I am not there yet. I'm not there yet.
The New Forest in Hampshire scorched under the glare of a summer sun like no other. A wildfire that began on the weekend is contained after raging across a now scarred landscape and its ancient woodlands. This is a season of records in the UK. The most days over 30 degrees. In England and Wales, the driest July, and more wildfires than ever before, 950 so far this year.
Wow.
This afternoon, the Prime Minister convened the second Cobra of the year over extreme heat, while the Met Office issued a rare amber warning for tomorrow, with central and eastern England gearing up for mid to high 30s, and some areas potentially reaching 38 degrees.
Guys, it's all okay. Drill, baby, drill. Yo, Noisy, what's cooking? Yo, Logie. We're just checking out some climate catastrophe stuff.
There have been a significant number of excess deaths from heat this summer already, and we need to make sure that advice gets out to stay.
How many excess deaths? He just said significant. Like, what's the number? Does anybody know?
Hydrated, to help people to be hydrated, so that figure doesn't rise any further. We would say to retailers, do not put disposable barbecues on sale at this moment in time. They have been the cause of...
Let's keep this momentum going. Let's go.
Whoa!
New subscriber. Welcome to the Noisy Crew.
The other Jen! You just started a hype train. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the sub. Woo! We got a hype train going, everybody. Hype train. Hype.
Well done, my boy.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys a whale. blowout. Blowhole engaged. Blowhole again.
Significant fires, and there's one thing that can be done that everybody should be doing. People shouldn't be using them out in the open where there's a significant risk of fire.
This fifth heat wave is descending just as the whole of Wales and 71% of England are in drought, with reservoirs already dwindling. Many of the country's canals have come to a standstill as authorities close locks to preserve water. Here in London, rules that require barges to move each fortnight have been relaxed.
Using the locks uses a hell of a lot of water, so it does really make sense for us. It probably should have happened a while ago. I haven't seen anything quite as dramatic as this before. It's to get us to stop moving, to actively ask us all to stay put, is a big move.
If there is no rain, some parts of the canal, they cannot refill itself. It's just impossible. Here you can see it's still okay, but the other parts of the canal, like, really low. This summer it's even hotter, so it's even more problems.
It's not just the UK, the whole of Western Europe has had the hottest June and July on record, with huge wildfires breaking out in France and here in Spain. Climate change driven by the burning of fossil fuels means Europe is warming twice as fast as other continents. Temperatures are rising more quickly than we're able to adapt to. With farmers harvesting early, food production reduced and...
I asked this question a couple of days ago. If Europe gets hotter and hotter, let's say in the next decade or two, and Europeans start crossing the border into Africa or the Middle East, what should African nations and countries in the Middle East do? I mean, what would be the right thing to do?
Energy costs driven up by increased demand. This a new normal that's anything but.
Well, joining me now is the chair of the National Heat Risk Commission, Emma.
No, the right thing would be to is let people in, bro. Like, what the fuck? No. Copy the West immigration policies? No. The right thing to do would be, oh shit, our world is burning. Let's help out our fellow human being. What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? It's not to block the borders. Oh. Leah's like, turn us away. Copy the West immigration policies. That ain't how it's gonna play out, Noisy. Nah, man. I think what the West does not understand yet is how fragile the world is at the moment. And it's not just for the global South, right? Like, look at this. Look at what's happening here. It's like, this is the time to build an equitable world for all. You know, this is the time for the Western leaders to come to the party and just truly start to build a global planet. Like, we need it. We need it now because everyone's going to need each other. It's just, how the fuck can we keep doing what we're doing? Hey, Faye. It's a couple of disasters away from a worldwide crisis of immigration. Yeah. Turbo fucked. We don't deserve people to take us in after we cause so much harm to them. I think the world is, like I said, the world is talking about equity. And if the West continues to behave the way it does, the world will start, the world... The worst thing for the West is if the world stops demanding equity and and starts demanding revenge, like we don't want that. Like I don't think anybody wants more war. Like the West needs to come to the table right now. This is the time. My father wanted to go with boats in Netherlands, but he died before he get the chance. He never had the time. Oh, Morty, I'm so sorry. I will stay put and die in a forest fire or hurricane or earthquake. Why? Bro, survive.
Howard Boyd. Emma, it's good to have you on the program.
You
I'm sorry that you're missing
No.
the eclipse by doing this interview.
By the way, guys, please, I call everybody bro, okay? I'm not, my bro is gender neutral. I just say bro. It's a very Kiwi thing to do. Just bro, you know? Please do not take my bros as like me misgendering you, please. That's not what I'm trying to do.
With us, but also, of course, what's going on in terms of heat is vitally important. And we've got another heat wave tomorrow, the fourth this season. Is this the new normal now that we have to get used to?
It's anything but normal. And I think what we all need to recognise is that with our changing climate, we're going to continue to see these extremes and them to get worse.
We're on the West Coast, Noisy. We have a lot of shit that's ready to kill us on the West Coast of North America. Oh, really? Everyone is you guys here. Gender neutral. Yes. I don't believe we will get a warning. Bro has become a joke in my friend group because our Kiwi friend says it so much. Yeah, exactly. It's just how we speak here. Please don't take offense. Did the UK not used to get heat waves? Not like this. This is generational shit, man. This is once in a lifetime. Like once in ever. This is the worst ever.
Worse and flip-flop from heat to drought to flooding. So it's far from normal.
And just to be clear, scientifically proven, this is happening to our planet because of what we are doing, because of how we live our lives, because we're burning too many fossil fuels.
Don't say we, motherfucker. The West. The West created this. Don't say we.
Absolutely. If you look at the heat waves of the past, they are very different.
China now, yes, China is adding now, but if you take greenhouse gas emissions since the time of industrialization, 75% of all greenhouse gas emissions is Western greenhouse gases. China has only been emitting for a short period of time in that history. So yeah, China right now is the largest emitter of greenhouse gases. China makes all your shit. Yeah. China emits greenhouse gases because of Western consumerism. Weirdly. So you can't just blame China for it. China is also moving quickly to alternative energy. Yeah, faster than anybody else. Brother, it's so hot. Our trains literally cannot run sometimes. Holy shit. Oh, yeah. Way quicker than the West.
Different from the heat waves that we are experiencing right now. And scientists are working at pace to do that assurance that the heat waves are attributed to climate change. So just as important to think about how we reduce our emissions as to how we respond to these events.
So this is about resilience, about us living our lives in a slightly different way, but that just treats the symptoms. It doesn't actually treat the cause. We mustn't lose sight of that either.
We mustn't lose sight of that, but the current couple of days...
Let's start simple, buddy. Let's start simple. Let's make a positive step anywhere, okay? Let's just make one positive step somewhere. Let's take a fucking step, bro.
days, really vital that we understand how the country, how different departments are going to make sure that we have the right resources in the right place. As the heat waves have happened this summer, we've seen health impacts, we've seen the impact on productivity, we've seen the drought impacts, and we've seen wildfires around the country. Really vital that over the next couple of days, people understand what to do and that we've got extra resources where possible going to support fire services, ambulance, hospitals, those dealing with the critical aspects of this, then moving to the long term, what do we do to invest to make sure that we're better prepared for the next heat wave?
Indeed. Emma Howard-Boyd, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Okay. Here's the River Rhine, everybody. Here's what the River Rhine looks like. Are you ready? Are you ready?
The Rhine is one of Europe's biggest and most important rivers, and it's suffering badly from the prolonged drought and heat waves. The punishing lack of rainfall is impacting traffic on the river as water levels drop to historic lows. It's having a negative impact on the river docks in Strasbourg in eastern France, which is the country's second biggest river port, behind only Paris. The authority that operates the docks says cargo imports and exports by boat have plunged because of the risk of vessels scraping the riverbed. The loads that would normally come in and go out by river have to be transferred, but that increases costs as shippers have to spread loads that would normally go on one boat between several vessels.
It's so low.
Here at the port, we have a service of 3 terminals, and that allows us to move from the river to the roads or the trains, so we can reorientate the storage so containers that now cannot arrive or depart by the river can instead be put on the train you can see behind me.
A difference of just a few centimetres in the Rhine's water level can mean the inability to load hundreds of tons of freight. Fuel costs are rising, and the roads and railways are increasingly busy as the amount of goods and grain being transported slows.
Normally, this port handles 20 cargo boats a week, but now it's just 3, and they are arriving at only 10% capacity.
Whoa! What?
Downstream from Strasbourg, France's national agency looking after river traffic says that while they have seen droughts before, this period of dry weather is more than exceptional.
We are really missing rainfall, especially in the Alps. The water in the Rhine comes from the Alps, but there are 2 sources, rainwater and snowmelt. Climate change means there is less snow, and this summer there has been much less rain, which means the water level is very low.
The Rhine is a critical waterway for cargo in Europe. Normally there would be 70 boats passing through these locks daily, but due to the significant reduction in river traffic, it's now just 20 a day. The Federal Association of German Domestic Shipping has warned that parts of the river are so low, in some areas under 30 centimetres, that the Rhine is at risk of splitting into 2 separate sections, meaning it would no longer be continuously navigable. The river forms part of the border between France and Germany, and water levels in western Germany and where the Rhine enters the Netherlands are now lower than at any point since records began.
Oh, bro, if the river dries up, is it just like, is the border gone? If it dries up, are France and Germany just one country now?
France is also grappling with plunging lake levels, reduced river flows and the growing impacts of climate change, hitting industry along the Rhine and hampering the river-borne economy. Ross Cullen, CGTN, Strasbourg.
Shit. Also, one thing to consider, how climate change is having an impact on how a third world war could be fought, you know? Rivers drying up, access to different areas. Holy shit. We haven't even been thinking about this. This is France and Hungary have to shut down nuclear plants. Really? Really? Yo, Flexo, don't you dare say things like that. Oh my gosh. It's pretty bad, eh? what's happening in Europe is pretty bad, eh? And they're not particularly sounding the alarm, are they? Like, they're just like, oh yeah, it's gonna rain. It's just gonna rain. It'll be fine again, and we can gaslight everybody. But actually, it's pretty bad.
A London church set against a desert-like landscape. Gone are the lush green lawns typically seen in the British capital, which has never experienced such a dry July.
Yeah, some rivers are too low and not cold enough to cool the nuclear plant reactors. They depend on the cold, constant water from rivers. Whew. Imagine if this means that, like, beer can't be produced anymore in the UK. Holy shit. There will be riots.
Only the swimming pools still hold water. Ponds are drying up, making this ban on fishing seem derisory. Everywhere, the ground is cracked, where rivers once allowed navigation. The port of Cologne in Germany.
Is this the desertification of Europe? Is this the desertification of Europe? Is it happening?
Now dormant. The Rhine has also receded, rendering bridges almost pointless. In Budapest, too, the landscape has been transformed. The Danube River revealing secrets from the Second World War, such as this German motorbike.
Whoa!
And this ship attacked by the Nazis in Serbia.
No way! Oh my gosh! World War II shit is coming up. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is next level, guys. I didn't, like, every day I speak about this, it just seems to get worse and worse, man. It's progressing so quickly.
Even older still are these bones of a mammoth dating back several thousand years, discovered in Bulgaria.
Wow!
These just some of the astonishing images of an extraordinary summer that scientists warn will feel mild by comparison with those to come. Major cities in Italy are on red alert for the heat wave. At the foot of the Colosseum, a water cannon offers a chance to cool off. As this week, several European cities once again see temperatures approaching 40 degrees Celsius.
There isn't enough sunscreen for Europe in the world. There really isn't.
Riverbeds that have dried up or have next to no water left. That's a new norm here in the north of France.
I thought that it was still here, but it stopped. The flow has stopped.
Following successive heat waves, around 70% of France is facing water usage restrictions. These environmental officers are upping their rounds, especially in fields where watering is currently outlawed.
There's no watering. They are following the guidelines.
Car washers face the same restrictions.
The station is within the guidelines. They have blocked access to the car wash, including the jets.
Over the next few days, the situation could get worse.
This drought is only going to get worse for at least the next week or 10 days to come. The weather forecast doesn't predict rain until around the 20th of August for much of France.
Following.
Guys, by the way, this weekend, we had time to fucking announce it. Wait, I'll just wait for this to finish.
The drought conditions, 2/3 of groundwater levels are currently below normal levels in France.
Okay, so yeah, climate catastrophe. We're all fucked. But this weekend, here's an announcement. This weekend, I am going to be cooking up a storm. On Sunday this week, New Zealand time, I am going to be making a Indian street food live on the Noisy Immigrant. Indian street food, as much as possible from scratch, but we are going to make it and eat it and enjoy it. Okay? we are going to do it. We're going to have a go. I'm going to try and get a nice recipe, and we're going to give it a go. And I'll do it on Sunday. And we'll see if I can get a meal ready. What time in New Zealand? North American time. I'll do it in the morning, maybe. Oh no, we can't do it in the morning. It'll be around this time, I guess. Around 12:30. Can you post the ingredients in Discord for us who want to cook along with you? Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. I'll be live at around noon New Zealand time. I think I can start at noon New Zealand time. And we'll cook together. We'll make a nice vegetarian street food style. And I only want to cook vegetarian food because I feel like there's a lot of people who want to know how to cook vegetarian food well. And my mother is a great vegetarian chef. So, well, she's not a chef. She's just a mum who cooks amazing vegetarian food. So I'll just take her recipes and I'll start doing little cook-offs so that people can learn how to do amazing South Indian vegetarian food. So, New Zealand time, everybody. Noon New Zealand time. Don't be late. I'll also post a schedule. I'll also post a schedule on all the platforms, so that you have adequate Sunday New Zealand time. That'll be Saturday in Merca, and in Europe. Oh, you know how America bailed out the yen, everybody? You know how America bailed out the yen? Well, it's not going too well. It's not going too well, everybody.
Less than 2 weeks ago, the US Treasury intervened to defend Japan's currency, the yen, spending billions of euros buying up yen on the foreign exchange market. Originally, it looked like the intervention had sort of worked. The yen strengthened from 164 to the dollar to 156, and didn't move all that much in the week after. However, in the past couple of days, its decline has restarted. So in this video, we're going to explain why the yen is still falling, and whether the intervention has already failed. We believe that for the news to be trustworthy, it must be produced free from the influence of those we cover or who fund us. That's why we have a strict funding policy that keeps sponsors at an arm's length. Find out more about what we believe in our official manifesto. It's linked in the description of every one of our videos. So this story starts with the yen, which has basically been declining since 2022, when it slipped from about 110 to the dollar to more like 150. It then
what did we buy it with? We are 39 trillion in debt with euros.
Hovered there for the next couple of years, with the Japanese government intervening to make sure it never really fell below 160. The yen's decline probably has something to do with inflation, which averaged about 0 in Japan between 1990 and 2020, but returned with a vengeance in 2022. Inflation obviously erodes the real value of the yen, which has undermined its appeal as a so-called safe haven. The usual remedy to persistent inflation and a weak currency is higher interest rates, which reduce the money supply,
correct, the other
hence
gen,
less
yes.
inflation, and make it more attractive to save in that currency, hence a stronger currency. Unfortunately, raising interest rates is difficult for Japan, because higher interest rates mean higher borrowing costs, and this is a real problem for the Japanese government because of its massive debt burden, not to mention the fact that their borrowing costs are already skyrocketing. This is probably the main reason that Japan's central bank, the Bank of Japan or BOJ, hasn't raised interest rates as quickly as you might expect, and has basically the lowest rates in the world. This has put further downward pressure on the yen because it's made it more attractive to save cash in other currencies like euros or dollars. Anyway, this all came to a head a couple of weeks ago, when, after a series of expensive but ultimately futile interventions, the yen finally slipped past 160, reaching a low of about 164 the week before last. And this, or more specifically the Friday before last, is when the US Treasury decided to intervene to prop the yen back up, in coordination with the Japanese Ministry of Finance, or MOF. In practice, this meant the Treasury and the Japanese MOF buying up billions of yen on the markets with other currencies to make it stronger on foreign exchange. Interestingly, the US didn't intervene with dollars, they actually intervened with euros. No one knows exactly how much the US spent, but
Roshan, this Sunday, New Zealand time, noon New Zealand time, I am going to be doing some chart cooking. Okay? I got my mom's going to give me some recipes and I'm going to be cooking some chart. Noon New Zealand time on Sunday. So that'll probably be very early for you, actually. Pretty early for you. But yeah, we're going to be doing chart a couple of different ways. I'm probably going to fuck things up, but it'll be fun.
But the total intervention came to about $50 billion, and the US has about 26 billion euros in its foreign exchange reserves, so it's plausible to imagine it came to the tens of billions. So why did the US spend billions of euros bailing out Japan? Well, it's in part because Trump doesn't like the fact that Japan runs a trade deficit with the US, and has long argued that a weak yen exacerbates this problem by making Japanese exports cheaper in the US, and by making American exports more expensive in Japan. But the main reason, which we embarrassingly overlooked in our last video on this topic, is that Trump, or rather his Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, didn't want Japan to sell its US assets. For context, the Japanese state is sitting on trillions of
Meanwhile, in the EU, all focus on the new euro bill design.
dollars worth of American assets, including US equities and, perhaps more importantly, loads of US government bonds, commonly known as treasuries. When the yen is falling against the dollar, the natural thing for Japan to do is sell some of these assets for dollars, and then use these dollars to defend the yen on the currency markets. Bessent's intervention suggests he really didn't want Japan to sell these assets, and was presumably particularly worried about any sell-off in treasuries, given that US bond yields are already high and rising. Now, originally the intervention looked like it had sort of worked. The yen fell back down to about 156 to the dollar, and closed out last week at about 157. However, it's since continued its decline, and at the time of writing is above 159, flirting with the all-important 160 threshold. Moreover, using the dollar as a benchmark understates how badly the yen is doing, because the dollar itself has also been declining recently, falling by nearly 2% against the euro in the past 2 weeks. This is largely due to a terrible jobs report at the end of last week.
Yeah, the US did it with euros instead of US dollars. Nah, they used euros.
Which led to a sell-off in the dollar, and was the only reason that the yen was able to close out last week at 157. So, why is the yen declining again? Well, the success of this intervention was always going to depend on credibility. In other words, whether markets actually believed that the US and Japan were genuinely committed to defending the yen.
I.e., vibes.
Think about it. If you genuinely believe the yen is going to hold below 160, you won't sell, because your asset now has a stable value. If, however, you think that Japan and the US don't actually have the stomach to stem the decline, you'll sell, in anticipation of further declines in the future. The basic problem with the intervention was that it did not bestow the required credibility, for at least 3 reasons.
Well, remember that America also intervened in Argentina, and Argentina's peso, is that what it is? The peso in Argentina has fucking tanked as well. Woo! Shit's hitting the fan!
Well done, my boy.
I think George Bush wants to say something, folks.
Fool me once. Shame on.
You can't fool me.
Shame on you.
You can't fool me.
If fool me, we can't get fooled.
First, the mere fact that the US intervened suggests that Japan was simply unwilling to sell off the proverbial family silver in its massive pile of foreign assets, which it could have used to defend the yen by itself. Second, the fact that the US intervened with euros instead of dollars suggests its support for the yen is conditional and limited. Trump apparently doesn't want to be seen to be giving away dollars, and the US only has very limited foreign exchange reserves anyway. Third, it was later reported that the intervention blindsided the European Central Bank, even though it was done with euros. This also spooked markets, because it implied that not everyone is on board with this strong yen policy, and that Besant's intervention was somewhat ad hoc.
I know it's important, but I so can't focus and follow these markets. And getting loans and investments and whatnot, like I hear it, and how it enters in one year, it immediately exits from the other. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's a tough time. It's a tough time. Like now with Ginger, for example, like we have spent $33,000 for his operation, and we've paid for it with my parents' credit card, and now we're trying to get a loan to pay my parents back. All of this is high interest rate stuff, you know? It's high interest rate. Hey, Akur demo. So we're like deeply in debt, right? But again, like it's a fucking hard time. And at the same time, like I get my TikTok account wiped out, so that's like a revenue stream gone. So we're definitely like, I'm anxious, but again, like I'm just trying to stay positive and just keep speaking, because that's the most important thing at this time. But I can guarantee you guys, it's like very, very expensive to take loans right now. Very expensive. Everyone's feeling it. I can tell. Everyone around the world is feeling it.
For context, these sorts of interventions are usually coordinated with other major monetary authorities, which is what gives the market peace of mind that they're going to stick. As a final thing, as well as being not great for Japan, this intervention, and its apparent failure, could also be not great for the US. This is essentially because Besant has signalled two things to the market here. First, that he's worried about the state of the Treasury market, and by implication America's fiscal position, and second, that he doesn't want people to sell the Treasuries they hold in their reserves. But this is...
Yeah, especially unsecured loans. Luckily, we have this property, right? Like, this is our house, but we're also in the process of, like, selling this house. It's such a fucked up time, bro. Like, I'm just trying to shut all of that out and just focus on what matters. And just keep plugging away on that, behind. It's stressful as fuck, I can guarantee you. But, being here and just focusing on the things that matter helps.
Is exactly why people hold treasuries in the first place. They're supposed to be the most liquid asset around, one that you can always sell. If this is no longer the case, treasuries will quickly lose their appeal as a reserve asset. Now, this story about the initial US intervention to save the yen is constantly updating as more and more outlets are reporting on it, so it might feel like it's hard to keep up with the ever-changing media landscape. Right now, there are 418 sources currently reporting on it, with most of the coverage coming from the centre. This type of analysis...
Yeah, the other gen, like, I'm not particularly, like, the kind of person who's attached to things, like even this house, it's like, yeah, we bought it. It was quite a big deal. At that time. But the last 5 years or 4 years of like just being burnt out and just contemplating everything about the journey before and deconstructing or dismantling the view that things define me. It's been a challenge, but now with all of like the house being sold off and all of this stuff, I just don't care about things anymore. I feel better about just having my like family is enough, man. As long as we have, you sold your house, we're in the process of selling it, Spencer. We're in the process of selling it right now. It's on the market.
This is why Ground News has been our favourite way to stay up to date.
Okay, let's do some yen analysis on this. Yeah, we've got about 4 or 5 months worth of runway, I guess you would call it. So we're trying to sell it as soon as possible. Like I'm not gonna go back and work as an exec anymore. I just don't want to. I wanna be making change from a grassroots level. So I'm focusing on that. I just can't be bothered, going back for the easy money. I can't be fucked.
The yen could put Japanese policymakers to the test again today as the currency closes in on 160 to the dollar right now, holding steady at 159.21 there. The Nikkei 225, meanwhile, higher this morning. Yen moves were subdued yesterday, but with Tokyo markets back from a holiday, traders are watching whether the yen can hold below 160, or if a break higher would prompt another response from authorities. Japan has several tools in its toolkit to support its currency. They can first step up verbal intervention or warn markets they are prepared to act if the yen falls sharply.
It's moving very fast, Yo Flexo. It's moving extremely fast.
Officials can also signal that higher rates are coming to help shape market expectations, or they can intervene directly in markets by buying yen and selling foreign currency, as Japan did in a historic coordination with the U.S. last month. But investors are looking for a more fundamental source of support: higher Japanese interest rates. They are now watching whether the Bank of Japan will speed up the pace of its tightening cycle. Market pricing now puts the odds of a September BOJ hike at 60.7%. That's up from about 40% at the end of July. Wow. Japan's business leaders are already warning that prolonged yen weakness is creating risks for the economy. The yen's weakness pushes up import costs for companies. The owner of clothing brand Uniqlo Fast Retailing said it expects to raise prices on some autumn and winter clothing in Japan by about 4% to offset the weaker yen. While Muji operator Ryohin Keikaku is looking to cut costs by increasing in-house production to protect its profit margins. And let's break down yen moves and its implications with Jesper Cole, expert director at Monix Group Tokyo. Thanks so much for your time, Jesper. Now, we spoke more than a month ago, and you said any intervention would be ineffective. So is that what we are seeing now with the yen
Kiki, how are you?
Or was the intervention really just a matter of buying time and slowing the pace of weakness for the yen and not so much reversing its course?
With the euro, Swiss franc, USD.
Look, I mean, intervention is always buying time. You're shocking markets, but to get markets to follow you, you would have to change policy fundamentals. And the reason the yen continues to be weakening now is because of simple finance.
The glasses are great, eh? They're unique. They are unique indeed.
I can borrow at cheap interest rates in Japan, earn higher interest overseas. So the carry trade, basic finance, is reasserting itself and is forcing the yen weaker.
Yeah, but with the gains from the last currency boost now unwinding, what are the implications for potential future currency interventions? What does that mean for credibility?
Look, I mean, credibility.
I'm exhausted. I just moved house yesterday, downsizing in this economy. Yeah, we're close to that too, simply, Kiki. I mean, we're not downsizing. We're just getting rid of the house. But yeah, pretty much on the same path. It's a tough economy at the moment, folks. It's a tough economy.
Clearly is on the line. The last intervention was really, a weaponization of the yen. And that's because both the Ministry of Finance here in Japan, as well as the US Treasury, spent taxpayers' money to actually buy the yen. So it's a very, very strong message, not business as usual. And, it's going to be very, very important over the next couple of days for the authorities to reassert that indeed they do mean business. If they do let the yen slip past 160, 161 without doing anything, then that would really open up a Pandora's box.
Yo, it's already at like 160, buddy. What do you mean? Slip past 160. I rent and I need to downsize, but the catch is all the smaller places on the market cost more now. Oh! so sorry, Shiny. I shouldn't laugh. I should. It's the way you said it. It's the way you said it. Oh my gosh. Can I just say, Ivan, like, if you're wearing glasses like this, you ain't asking for permission. This is like, this dude is like, fuck it, I'm gonna wear these glasses. He doesn't care. He doesn't need permission.
Yeah, what will happen then, Jesper? Because we're watching the 160 level now, kind of testing that. What happens if the yen crosses that line?
Look, I think that, again, the scenario number one, most likely you will get, certainly verbal intervention here from Japan, but if you don't actually put money to work, then basically markets are going to test the result of both the US Treasury and the Bank of Japan and Ministry of Finance.
Yeah, and, a lot of people have said, too, that it really goes back to fundamentals, to the rate differentials between Japan and the U.S. So do you think that this now puts even more pressure on Japan, on the BOJ, to hike rates quickly? And will we see bigger rate hikes now?
Look, I mean, the Bank of Japan has literally maneuvered itself into a box, into a corner. The next policy board meeting is in September. If they don't hike in September, you could easily, the yen going back towards 165, 170 in a hurry. And the communication from the Bank of Japan leads a lot to be desired. There's worries in the market that the Bank of Japan cannot afford to increase interest rates because there's some weakness in the Japanese secondary banking system. On top of that, of course, the concern of a rising interest expense for the Treasury. So if you are a speculator, it really is game on right now. You earn the carry as you invest in higher yielding overseas assets. And if it goes wrong, the Treasury provides you with liquidity to get out. So it's almost a win-win for speculators.
Yeah, interesting point there, Jesper. And the last time you were here, you said you see the yen going to 200. Where do you see it now?
200.
Look, I think for all intents and purposes, the U.S. economy continues to be strong. I think that, the probability of the Federal Reserve actually increasing interest rates rather than cutting rates is certainly, high. And I think for all intents and purposes, the Bank of Japan is going to continue to drag its heels. So on my book, I think the yen continues to weaken.
How far can it go, Jesper?
Oh, it can easily. It depends on the U.S. Economic strengths. The labor market was a little weak over the last couple of months. If that reasserts itself, the U.S. labor market, generates 150, 200,000 jobs. I think dollar yen could easily go to 180, 185 before the end of this year.
All right. And Jesper, before I let you go, a lot of this, of course, tinges on the expansionary fiscal policy that we are seeing in Japan. How do the currency moves and the market signal? What will that mean for fiscal policy? What impact will that have?
No, you make a very, very important point. And Prime Minister Takaichi has presented a very bold domestic industrial reorganization policy, lots of tax dollars to be spent and lots of public-private partnerships to actually be invested here in Japan. The problem is that nobody believes that she can pull it off. As a result of that, Japanese investors prefer to put their assets to work overseas rather than here in Japan. Come October, November, Prime Minister Takaichi has to show concrete projects that earn a high return. That would be very important to actually keep domestic assets here in Japan.
I love how this guy's the guy's glasses, his frames matches his personality. He's he's so loud and straight up.
Jesper, really appreciate your insights today. We'll watch those yen levels closely. Jesper Kohl there, expert director at Monix Group Tokyo.
The GOAT, everybody, the GOAT. Okay, let's go to China.
Taiwan.
Yeah, this is there's a bit happening on the South China Sea, everybody. a little bit happening on the South China Sea. We'll play this one. I do have to go pick my son up at some stage. Oh my god, dude. White leftists are so fucked up. May I talk to you about a former friend which is at 1 to 2K viewers in France? You'll hallucinate? Yeah. Go for it, a cool demo. The Guardian. Asia heatwave, South Korea potatoes boil ground record. Oh my gosh. Basically, the situation is that a friend who built a large part of her stream identity around radical decolonialism and anti-racism has spent over a year and counting using fake accounts to impersonate different minorities. No fucking way. What? She's posing as Arab, Muslim, a veiled Muslim woman, Antillean, Jewish, and Anglo-Arab person raped as a kid, and more depending on the conversation, using those identities to claim lived experiences and give herself legitimacy in debates. Wait, a crew demo, are they on Twitch? Is this person on Twitch? She's literally using racial and religious identities as costumes whenever being concerned gave her more authority. Some of those identities and experiences were allegedly taken from real person around her, friends in my... Oh my gosh. Emodem? Oh no, bro. What the fuck? How did you find out about this? How did you find out about her doing this? Did she say it? That's an insane contradiction for someone whose politics are supposedly about decolonialism and centering radicalized people's voices. You can't condemn the appropriation and instrumentalization of minorities while allegedly fabricating minority identities, speaking over actual members of those communities using fake lived experiences. She's so insecure, she even built a Discord bot to monitor when people write her nickname in chat. So fucked up. Dude, we checked some logs. We fell from the sky. We unearthed that for a month. It was like finding the Epstein files. Has she been exposed yet? Has she been exposed yet or nah? Do people know? What are some of her accounts like? Can you share or not yet? Hey Lila. Are these Twitch? Are these Twitch names or like what platforms? Yeah, I know Benzema actually. I think she's deleted the Benzema account. deleted the Benzema account. Keep us posted, I guess. That's horrible. That's horrible thing to do. To get to get cred by pretending to be other people from marginalized communities. That's terrible. Fuck.
Annual war games are underway, with its latest drill simulating a communications blackout. The internet was slowed down.
Yeah, a crew demo. Like I am so serious when I say, when you're in leftist spaces, or you believe you're in a leftist space, if there is no recognition of white supremacy and white privilege as huge issue, as core parts of the society that we live in, then you're not in a leftist space. You're just not in a leftist space. It's this is why I say I think there is an aspect of white progressiveness, like we watched the video the other day, or white leftism, that still has to grapple with this. They still have to grapple with this, and when you bring it up, if it makes them feel fragile about it, they resort to they will resort to attacking you. I think white leftist spaces, white leftism has, or at least, I think leftism in general needs to be very, very aware of this. But that sucks, man. That sucks. That, especially for the people she's pretending to be. She also does this for money. She might be making bank. She didn't need to do all that shit with those accounts. Oh, fuck, man. That is a terrible thing to do, especially if. So she's white, yeah. French girl.
Considerably in the central part of the island, meant to mimic conditions that could arise in the event of a natural disaster or an attack by China. Let's get more on this from Taipei with Christopher Buckley, a reporter with the New York Times. Christopher, good to have you with us today. Firstly, what's been the public response, especially for those who've had their internet connections disrupted? And then how slow was the internet down to during this exercise?
Well, leading up to this internet slowdown that started on Monday, there was a lot of discussion in the Taiwanese media about this, some concern, some confusion. Would it cover all of Taiwan at the same time? Was it going to be a full severing of the internet? In fact, what it was a fairly limited slowdown of the internet on people's phones,
not on French doesn't
landlines.
Mean white. I just said she was French, but yeah, she is white.
And the first round of cities that came under this slowdown was, as you said, in central Taiwan. So I went down to central Taiwan on Monday just to take in what it was like and how people were responding. I should say most people took it in their stride. Some people did grumble a little bit about the inconvenience, but most people...
Oh my God, I don't even know what to say about that Akur demo. Like... Oh! We just looked at her account, Lila. That's why I'm confident about the whiteness. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? We're exposing it? Okay. I think that's fair enough. Like, what's their politics like? What do they talk about? I tell you what I'm not going to do. Watch her stream. Almost the same as me. Oh my gosh. Is she me? Is she me? Am I her? Am I actually a French white girl? A lappy leftist, yeah. Sad, man. You're French, white girl. She even went to a press conference given by the only leftist party that isn't racist and might win. So noisy. She gave an interview on national TV about that. I think be very confident. The only thing I'll say is people like that who have a lot of resources, they could use something. They could use the legal system against you. So be very careful. That's all I'll say. But I think exposing stuff like that is important. I think exposing stuff like that is very important. I have more resources, brother. The legal system is my thing. Oh, really? Well, then fucking do it, bro. What the fuck are you doing? Go get it done. Also, guys, like I don't want to seem shitty. I know a lot of you follow people. A lot of you follow people on Twitch. And you may follow this person. But I raided into Complainy Laney's live stream the other day. And Complainy Laney and a couple of others that were in chat, a couple of others that were in her live, basically said very negative things. Said very negative things about me and this community as well. And I've been getting a lot of this sort of stuff, especially when I speak about white leftism. I think there are a lot of snowflakes who don't like hearing about white leftism, that I hate communists, that that I misgendered somebody in chat once, that I and ended up blocking a whole bunch of people. Like I raided into their live, man. Apparently, I don't know if lesbian hot sauce was in there, but someone said lesbian hot sauce was in there. And apparently I've been racist against brown people. I've been racist against brown people, and the thing is, I potentially know the chatter who has been spreading this shit. Because we blocked them, and I have the logs because we blocked them, and that chatter got pissed off when I spoke about white leftism. And whiteness in leftist spaces needs to be aware. And a lot of white leftists often forget. Were you here? Let me just show you the logs. Probably. It was this comrade person who we were having a chat with, and they were being like really obscure about their identity. Like when I was talking about white leftism, they were like, they got really defensive about it. It's this person. Oh. Where are the downloads, man? Oh, there. Yeah, it's this person. Do you know them? Like, we really had to contain this person. Like, they were starting to type all sorts of shit in chat. We have the logs. We have the full logs of this. Comrade Dexy.
Taiwan's...
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, so they said things like, this is a whole thing. Which ABC? Boo. This is going to be ass. Like, this was literally, look at this. This was in the space of like 10 minutes. In the space of a couple of minutes here, from 11:13 to 11:17, they just was like typing this. Which ABC? Boo. This is going to be ass. ABC vague posting. Palestinians. Told you this would be ass. Hamas. Already blaming the resistance. Fuck, this shit is pissing me off. If this doesn't make you angry, you're not paying attention. Why was that auto-modded? And the auto-mod message was, this media is paid for with my taxes and people uncritically watch this shit. It's literally Hasbara. If you want to know what is going on in Palestine, look at FPTV or literally any independent journalist in Palestine. Why was it blocked? It literally tells you what it was held for. I'm just asking why the message was held. LOL, settle down. So this person, the account on Twitch saying can't read on phone, that's because you don't have the blue sunglasses like the guy a few minutes ago. May I know which streamer? They're called... I've got screenshots of this, but Comrade... Yeah, and then, so, noted, race reductionism good, gender reductionism bad. Like, crazy. Not a guy, but... Yeah, see, like, after all of that, I don't know, guys. Like, what the fuck is this? And this is just one thread. Like, this person has commented so many times. But the first time this person got angry was when I talked about white leftism. So this is the person. This is the person who has gone on. Hold on. Let me just. Can you see it now? This is the person who's gone on and I think told leftist spaces that, you know, I misgendered people and all of this shit. And now, Complainy Laney, who didn't even bother didn't even bother talking to me about this. Just started fucking talking shit after I raided Complainy Laney, and then, without talking to me, clipped my video and called me a misogynist. And I'll show you guys the clip. Just to give you an idea, the video we were watching, was literally about white fragility. And this lady here wrote a book called White Fragility. Okay, Robin D'Angelo. And we were watching her lecture. And Complainy Laney missed the whole lecture and clipped this one bit. And I've left the clip up because I think it's the most stupid fucking thing she's done. But read. You know those. So a chatter asked me, what should we do about this, and how should we approach this? A white lady was asking me about how they should approach learning about this stuff and how to educate other white people about this. But read. You know those book clubs that you have where they're predominantly like white women book clubs? Take like books about racism into those book clubs instead of reading about sweaty, cut up men with donkey cocks. I don't know, is that what women read in book clubs? I have no clue.
Okay. You all clear, aren't you, that people who grow up poor don't end up at that table? There may be an exception, but these were groomed from early age.
Oh my gosh, bro. I don't know what to do. Sounds like a horror story. You want to watch again? Okay. But read. You know those book clubs that you have where they're predominantly like white women book clubs? Take like books about racism into those book clubs instead of reading about sweaty, cut up men with donkey cocks. I don't know, is that what women read in book clubs? I have no clue.
Okay. You all clear, aren't you, that people who grow up poor don't end up at that table? There may be an exception, but these were groomed from early age.
Look, we were watching a lecture about white fragility, okay? In when talking about things like racism, etc. I was using satire, as I often do, to, make a point. I was using satire. And we are literally listening to a white woman giving a lecture about this subject. Like this is an hour and a half long. I think we were on for like 4 hours. I think we were on for like 4 hours watching this lady, and like 4 hours of this video to analyze. Okay, 4 hours, and this is the bit they picked. There is so much information about white fragility and the lack of engaging with racism in a good way, and it being, such a fragile thing. It makes white people feel fragile, right? Like when you engage about racism, it's not something comfortable for white people to talk about. The other thing is she banned a person from this community for saying, like, for asking her why she would support someone like Bashar al-Assad. Like, she supports Bashar al-Assad. That's the other thing, is that apparently I like what happened in Syria, the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad. I do. I am very happy that Bashar al-Assad was overthrown. Very. For the Syrian people, very fucking happy. Why are they not happy? It's sad, bro. This is the kind of shit that pisses me off, guys. It's unnecessary. We could have had this conversation. Like, she could have literally reached out to me. We could have had this conversation. But she decided to do this. And I will never forget it. I will never forget it. I have a fucking whale's memory. I will never forget. Maybe in the future I can forgive, but I will never forget. Is this saying like I have a memory like an elephant? Did I just compare myself to a whale unnecessarily? Like, was that the right comparison? I don't know. Whales have good memories, I guess. But just note, guys, like, I'm okay with criticism. I do dumb shit all of the time. The thing is about criticism, like, you can have a go at me, but do it to my fucking face, right? Like, don't be a coward. I've never heard that one before. Yeah. Yeah, that TT chatter was reportedly asking to be spoon-fed answers to ease their own guilt. It was unhinged, and the book club with Donkey Cock stories was entirely appropriate. Yeah. Taking it out on unexpected people from the community was just wrong. Yeah. Like, man, like, if they didn't like me, just say it, but don't fucking do that to people. Just don't do that to people. They don't deserve it. Like, if I deserve it, fucking come tell me. 2 weeks in Kazakhstan and forgot about them. Plus here we are all all from different parts, history, genders, and orientations. Yeah. 2:40 p.m. Yes. Folks, here's the thing. Here's my promise to all of you. I have lived 40 years of my life so far. Okay? 40 years of my life. And the one thing about all of my experiences is I have learned to to be myself, Ankh. I have learned to be myself after a lot of deprogramming and being someone that I never liked or never was comfortable with. You don't look a day over 64. Des, what the fuck? I have been through a shitload in my life, okay? And I will say this. What you will get from me is authenticity, and I will always be that person. If you want to talk to me, just talk to me, okay? That's what I want from you guys, and the communities on fucking on Twitch, whoever wants to, do whatever they want. But the moment these people break that rule, I do not give a fuck who it is. The moment people like Complainy Laney attack my community, as another streamer has in the past, they do not get to dictate when they get to engage with me. They do not get to dictate how that conversation will go, because they made the choice to have that conversation without me. So I just want you to understand that if these people say hurtful things, yeah, it will be hurtful, and it will be taken in that way. And I am not the kind of person who just forgives that easily. But there is a path I will provide all of these people to, apologize or at least engage with me in good faith. Don't worry, Cypher. I didn't expect it either, dude. Like, see, I just said, dude. Please don't get pissed off when I use this. But it's not your fault. Like, I am, dude. It's not your fault, though. Like, I didn't know they had anything against me. They hadn't said anything to me. Like, I had no fucking clue they didn't like my views on things. And even if they did, I didn't think it was that fucking toxic. Sad shit, guys. Fuck. Honestly, you know who introduced me to Complainy Laney? Katie. I really enjoyed spending time on here on these lives with Katie. I thought Katie was a great human. I had nothing. Katie introduced me, and I've had nothing against this person.
Gift sub detected. Sharing is caring. You shared. You cared.
Anonymous gifter. Thank you for gifting Cypher. Yeah, I had nothing against this person, man. It was so sad to hear on the Discord that she was being horrible to people. I just want to apologize as well, because I'm not up with all of the latest shit in Twitch communities and stuff. Like, I stream, I have a mission, and I fucking do it every day. I don't spend time gossiping and like talking to other people about this sort of stuff. But if stuff like this happens, it does jar me, and I try and stay out of people's way as much as possible and just focus on what I'm here to do. And when this happens, it's just like, what the fuck? It's like a punch in the gut, It's just unnecessary. Like, bro, just fucking talk to me. Come on. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. I will be back a bit later. I'm going to go pick up my son. But just note, like, I am trying to be my best self every single day. And that doesn't mean I won't make mistakes. That doesn't mean I won't falter. That doesn't mean I won't, do something that is less than desirable, potentially. Like, I'll do my best to stick to what I believe in. But if I say something you don't like, just fucking talk to me, okay? That's all my request is. Just talk to me. All right, you guys are awesome. Shall we raid out? Shall we raid out? We love you, Noisy Immigrant, as a streamer. Oh, thank you. Bags not suggesting? No, because of that, you suggest. You suggest, Cypher. Love you guys, man. Honestly. Thank you so much for giving me the privilege to be able to do this. Thank you. Oh, is Maple on? Raid Complainy Laney. Oh my gosh, nah, bro. Let's not do that, eh? Thank you, Marie. Maple. Maple raided me yesterday. Let's raid Maple. I don't think I've raided Maple in a while. Thank you so much, everyone. Love all of you. Please, please look after yourselves. I'll be back in a few hours. I'm going to go pick up my son. We're going to have a bit of time together, and I will be back, okay? Enjoy Maple Takes, the GOAT. Take care, everybody. We're all going to post the head of you in the chat. No, man. See you later, everybody. Much love. Thank you so much. Catch you all soon, okay? All right, here we go, Raiders. In 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Raid. Enjoy the raid, everyone. And Kakite YouTube, I'll catch you soon, okay? Take care, everybody. Take care, Arya. Take care. I'll catch you all soon. Free Palestine. Absolutely. Catch you all soon.